Live. Oh, that video will never cease to exist.
No, that's a classic.
It is. That guy was pissed
Oh
at
yeah.
himself. He's retired now, right?
No, I think he is
Who was
over
that?
on one of those networks, like Newsmax or something like that. I think he's got a show. What was his name again? It was like
I,
Bill.
it's somebody famous. I
Yeah,
forget
he
who
was
it
like a
is.
political commentator guy, but that was like on Inside Edition or whatever it was. Anyway.
Right. So let's see. I think we look like we're live. I'm going to make sure my sound is coming through here. Fine on my other system. And go to the chat option and turn on the sound and see if we. Yep. Sounds great. Oh, good. People are jumping in already. Ace Hoffman, welcome. Good to see you. Mac Nonsense, welcome. Robert 2025, welcome. People are jumping in. They're going to start jumping here pretty soon. Let's see. Eric, share your screen, please. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
All right. Let's see. Share screen.
All right. Tim just jumped in all of a sudden.
Let's see. Some screens let you share audio. Look for the share audio checkbox. Oh, okay. I need to share audio. So how do I do that?
No, you're already sharing audio. Don't worry about it. It's already coming through. If I can hear you, it's being shared.
Well, no. I mean, from like in the apps itself. So,
if you hit the monitor and it says share, just simply click share entire screen.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah,
right, that's all you do. You shouldn't have to share anything else.
Share, okay.
Because if I can hear your sound, that means it's going through to Twitch already.
Okay.
I just tested it.
Okay, so
cool.
Let's see. So do you see?
I do.
You see Premiere now?
See your screen? Yes, I do. There we go. Your screen is live.
Okay.
I see your Premiere Pro interface and like a scientist guy in the top right-hand corner.
Good enough. Now, real quick, if I come back over, there we go. We got the okay. Yeah, so I can't do that. Okay.
So basically, it's somebody. Okay, good. Ace Hoffman. I'm gonna post a comment that Ace Hoffman just made on Twitch. Mm-hmm. Can you see that comment?
I don't see it. No.
It's in your StreamYard interface.
Okay, let me come back here. Your sound is fine. Okay, good. Well, yeah, I was more concerned about sound. Like if I do this, let's come here, and if I play this,
yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear the mute? Can you hear music?
Yeah.
Perfect. We're good.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, this is what I like about StreamYard. It's super easy and it patches everything in on through. And Ace Hoffman also says, yes, we can hear the music.
Very good.
Okay. Okay, let's give it a couple of minutes. A bunch of people are starting to jump in. Let's see. Numbers are going up. Everybody's going to be an exciting broadcast today. You produce movies or videos, you do not want to miss this. And I'm going to be posting to Facebook to pull people in as your presentation goes through. So we'll go for the first hour and a half, like probably 11:15 or 11:30, do a 15-minute break and come back and finish up with the second half.
So I'll go for, till my plan is this. So I've got a bunch of stuff laid out that I'm going to go through. And then I'm going to leave time at the end for questions, or if people, like if I didn't cover something that people have a question about, we can deep dive into that and kind of go through it. So I wanted to open it up just because I don't know where everybody's at, user wise, like skill level wise. And so I want to allow for, if I don't cover something, we can definitely dive into that. So,
Okay. Fantastic. Let's see. It is 5 minutes after. Numbers are going up. Welcome everybody. Hey, everybody, put in the chat box where you are from and what the weather is like in your area. Both Eric and I are from San Diego, which is the place where the weather sucks everywhere else. How many friends do we know, Eric, that retired to Hawaii and the weather sucks there?
Yeah, it's not as good. I mean, listen, we pay a lot to live here, but the whole reason we do is because the weather is amazing.
It's amazing. It's better than Hawaii.
Yeah, it's better than just about anywhere.
Yeah. I went to
Wow.
Hawaii and I thought, you know what? I'm not impressed. It's way too hot, way too humid all the time.
I've been to Hawaii a few times. One time there was a hurricane that was bearing down on us, so that wasn't good.
Oh man.
But the other times I've been there, it's been nice, but it's not as, but but you're out in the middle of the ocean, and everything's a little bit more expensive, and yeah.
So Robert says he's from Carlsbad, and Carlsbad's always cloudy because it's right on the coast there. I mean, I'm 7 miles inland. I think you inland a little bit too, Eric, right?
Yeah. So my office is downtown where I'm at right now, but I live in La Mesa, which is definitely
it's going to be sunny and hot.
I left. It was nice and sunny there.
Yeah. Come to the coast, it's going to be.
Yeah.
Ace Hoffman says, I'm going to be glued to the screen. I use Premiere a lot and would love to be faster at it. Now, Ace Hoffman is also a Blender guy.
Oh, okay.
And in 3D, in the 3D world, we use animation and Premiere Pro a lot. Now, Blender has a video editor built into it, and it's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
But no, it's not Premiere Pro. So.
Well, one thing from everybody that's in the here now, if you could put in the chat pod, like I'm real curious to know where you consider yourself in the Premiere sort of hierarchy. Like I go and let me know, like, are you beginner, very little, intermediate, or are you advanced, or are you kind of like, dude, I don't even know why I'm watching you. I should be teaching this class kind of level, So that helps me because what I've geared the presentation towards is somebody, to the beginner intermediate level to sort of, work through the whole workflow and kind of show you things that, how things work and, but design it for people that maybe have never used it, but also have stuff in there for people who have. So
that's right. And also this presentation is being recorded. So
I won't swear or take off any clothes or anything like that.
So Robert says that he uses DaVinci more than Premiere.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Photo Dev says that I've done some, but feel like a newbie.
Perfect.
Some Premiere Pro. Okay.
Got it.
So that person feels like they're a newbie.
And this is perfect for you.
So this one, Sherlock says they're a beginner. Looking at comments here. More coming up, slowly coming up. All right. So I tell you what, I'm going to show your screen.
All right. Let me share my screen again because I switched off so I could come over here and see you all.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Let me do. I guess I could just do this.
Okay. David Glenn mentions that he's used it a lot. Most for his YouTube stuff.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, let's just do that. Let's share. Okay. All right.
Cool. Gotcha. Now
so we're back in Premiere now?
We're back in Premiere. We can see it perfectly well. So everybody, let me introduce them, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill the screen with only your desktop, Eric.
Okay.
So that everybody can enjoy Premiere Pro itself. Eric and I have known each other for a long time.
Dude, a long time.
30 years?
Nah, I wouldn't, dude. How old do we are now?
Think about it.
No, we have known each other. We have known each other for at least 15 years.
Well, okay, hold on a minute. We known each other when your user group was it wasn't Premiere Pro. It was the Final Cut Pro user group.
No, that wasn't me. I've never been Final Cut.
Yeah, it was because you and I had an argument in the parking lot about Adobe switching, not Adobe, but Apple switching things in Final Cut Pro, and you were thinking about taking the group to the Premiere Pro.
No, that was not me, my friend.
Yeah, it was.
No, it wasn't. I'll bet you lunch at a very nice restaurant. That was not me. But go ahead with your story.
Oh, the very nice restaurant. That's the same. Yeah. You and I think alike. We like good food.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. No, we've known each other for more than 15 years. So I've been running the user group since since the late 90s.
See, I started, so I'll give you my story here with the user group. So
Right.
in the late 2000s, like late 2000 aughts, I guess, whatever that first decade we want to call it. I used to get together with a bunch of editors every Friday. We had an editor's lunch once a month, and we would get together and talk. And at the time, there was me and one other person that would edit with Premiere. And it was really frustrating because everybody else at the table was editing with Final Cut. And
Right.
there was a couple guys that cut with Avid, and I didn't have anybody to talk to. And I'd heard about user groups. I met somebody who ran the Final Cut user group, I'm both here and in LA. And I thought, you know what, why don't I start something like that? So I pinged Adobe because they had a user group, a big, robust user group program at that time. And I remember it was in January of 2009. And I sent an email. I never heard back. August of that year, I get married. I'm on my honeymoon in Hawaii, I'm just talking about, and I'm in Hawaii. I get an email from Adobe that says, hey, sorry for the late response. Are you still interested in starting that user group? And I wrote back, yeah, but I'm on my honeymoon. Let me get back to you. And that was in August of 2009. In September of 2009, we had our first meeting. And so I've been doing it since September of 2009.
Right. And I was running now you were with us over there at the Art Institute, right?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Right. Yeah. So we were there since before 2003, because we were there several years before you came in, because you contacted me.
Yeah.
About I guess I was the one that got you in there. I put you together with the president.
That sounds right. Yeah. No, it wasn't actually. It was Platt College. You got me into Platt College.
Nobody. It was Art Institute.
Really?
Okay, I did get you into Art Institute. I also did get you into Platt College.
That's true.
Because Art Institute went down, you were already there with us. So when I went over to Platt, Platt basically contacted me and says, come over to here. I told them that you were looking for a place too.
Okay. There you
go. No, I got you into both.
For those of you watching, Steven and I have become the two old men in the booth on the Muppets. Okay. That's us. So if you're joining, you're like, what am I watching? I came here for Premiere and I'm watching the two old guys in the balcony on the Muppets.
In that case.
And I say that out of love, man. I love you, Steven.
Okay. Take it away, Eric.
All right. With that note, let's get started here. Okay. And just so you know, Steven, I can't see any comments. So if I get questions or things like that, feel free just to sort of jump in and stop me. Because all I'm seeing is my interface right here. I can't see anything. So
and I want to just before you start, I want to say hello to Peter All. Welcome. It's great to see you here. He says that he's used Premiere Pro very little. Okay. And then Ace Hoffman made a comment. The last thing that he did, about 120 still images, is under 3 minutes. Animated a periodic table that I wrote in Adobe Animate, and Tom layers the elements earlier this year.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Very cool. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us and spending part of your Saturday hanging out, talking nerd talk about Premiere and all things Adobe and tech stuff. Again, my name is Eric Addison. I have run the Premiere Pro user group, as most of you just heard, since 2009. Apparently, I've been friends with Steven for 30 years and just didn't know it. And I also run 100 Acre Films here in town. We're a small production company that focuses on mostly like corporate stuff. So we work with a lot of big companies here. Also do occasional commercials and things like that. But I have been using Premiere Pro, I should say, since it was just Premiere in the late 90s. When I was in college. So I kind of came up using Premiere. Back then I had what I like to refer to as a less than legitimate copy, if you know what I mean. I think a lot of us started out with Adobe apps that way, but I'm all paid now. And part of starting the user group was my penance for using that less than legitimate software for as long as I did. So, but anyway, today I'm going to kind of walk you through a typical workflow. Now, I know this is the Photoshop user group, and I know you all know Photoshop probably like the back of your hands. There's not a lot of crossover between Photoshop and Premiere. I mean, I use Photoshop to go in and modify backgrounds using the Gen AI stuff. And now that I think about it, I probably should have showed something like that in here about how that workflow works. And maybe we can do that if we have time at the end. But you know, video editing and is its own sort of thing. And so I kind of focus this presentation of doing everything inside of Premiere with just going out just to do one thing. And I'll explain what that is later on in the presentation. Because, you know, you can pretty much do everything you need to inside of Premiere. You know, and one thing that I would say, I'm not sure how many people shoot video. I'm assuming most of you are all photography people probably first, video people second. If I could be wrong about that. But as a message from us video folks to you folks coming over into our world from the photography world, all we ask is that you not refer to shooting video as calling it motion. Okay, we hate that. It's video, folks. So I meet a lot of photographers who are like, oh yeah, I'm starting to get into Premiere and I'm shooting a lot more motion now. And I'm like, you're shooting what? And like, yeah, you know, motion, you know, like video. Okay, no, it's video. It's not motion. It's video. So, you know, but anyway, there's just my little rant for the day. So anyway, let's dive in here. So let's start at the very beginning. First thing you're going to see when you boot up Premiere is this. Okay, this is your home screen. And you can see this is a list of projects that I've been working on. If you open up Premiere the first time, this whole area down here will be empty because you haven't done anything yet. But as you start to do projects, it will fill up. The thing I will tell you is that it will, if the projects are on a drive that is not connected to your computer, then they won't show up here because Premiere is going to say, hey, here's the last 5 things I worked on. Where are they? I can't find them. Okay, then they're not here now. So it doesn't show them here. So if you work on a bunch of stuff, don't plug that drive in that they were on. Let's say it's an external drive and then plug this in and don't see them. That's why. So, but it's no big deal. You can just go over here to where it says open project and then, you know, plug in that drive and Premiere will find it and you'll be good to go. But if you're getting started the first time, new project is where you want to start. You can click on that and you'll get this little dialog box here. It's very simple. You got 3 things here to deal with. You have project name, so you can give it a name, call it whatever you want. A location. This is just basically where you're going to save that project. Now, this is where I'm going to put on my editor hat and tell you that kind of some advice. If you are a video editor, the best advice, and anybody who's been to one of my user group meetings knows that I harp on this continually, you need to have a system and you need to be organized. That is the most fundamental key thing in being an editor, is being organized. I keep all of my projects in one folder. So if I have a project for company X, I create a video for company X folder on my computer, and then I store everything related to that in that folder. All the media, all the music, all the graphics, all the logos, pictures, whatever, they all go in that one folder. So I kind of have this morbid thing that I say sometimes, that if I were to die on my way home from this presentation, leaving my office here, any of my editor friends could come into my office here, right over there. I'm pointing over there is where my desktop is, where I do 95% of my work. And you could boot that up and look at 3 projects of mine and figure out my system instantly. And that's because that's how organized I am. And so it will save you a lot of time and headache if you can just have a system and be organized. So I'm going to get off my soapbox now. We'll get back to the demo. So this is where you save everything. And then the last thing is just a template. Basically a template, if you choose one of these templates, it's basically going to set up pre-create bins or folders for you. Bins are an old film editing term from when we used to actually cut on film. We would put all of our film in what were called bins. You'd hang the film strips over the bin, and then if you lost one, they would just be down in the bottom of the bin. I grew up going to film school where we had to shoot 16 millimeter, and I spent many a night digging through bins trying to find this one little short bit of film to splice back into my thing. So the nomenclature is just sort of stuck. So, but yeah, any of these is basically when you go into your project, it's going to have a bunch of populated bins for you to use. So I just go with none. I have my own kind of system that I do. So, but anyway, so that's the new project thing. I'm just going to cancel out of that because I've already created a project. The other thing I will say before I get started too is I tend to talk pretty fast. You probably figured that out. If I go over something fairly quickly for you and you want to go back, please just make a note and Stephen will tell me and I'm happy to go back and recover something if you're unclear about that. So, okay, let's get started here. Let me open up my project that we have here. So after you create a new project, this is the first thing that you'll see. It is your import tab. You'll see up in the top left here, I've got import, I've got edit, and I've got export. These are your three main tabs for working inside of Premiere. And they do exactly what they sound like. Import is basically going to import in all of your clips. Now, I've already done that, but I'm going to kind of work you through this and kind of go over real quick how it all lays out here. So you've got all these different locations over here, excuse me, of where you can bring things in. These are my hard drives that I have. So this is my C drive, my system drive. I have another internal drive on this laptop. And then I've got this external drive where everything's living right now. And you can see that if I click on this external drive, here are all the folders on there. If I click on this other internal drive, you can see all the folders that are here. So basically it's just saying, where do you want to grab stuff from? So I created this particular folder for this project. Let's come back to that media where I have all the B-roll. And it's as simple as just clicking things to add them. And you can see down here, it's building a list down in the bottom left here. It starts over here to start showing me what clips I've added. And so you can go through and pick all the clips that you want to do. Then we've got the import settings, which is on the right side of the window here. And we'll start at the top, organize media. I just gave my lecture about organization, so I'm not going to go through it again, but you should organize your media. If I click this little checkbox, it'll put all of these. So right now I've just selected 4 clips. If and I can give this bin a name, so we could call it, folder 1, or B-roll would probably be a better thing. B-roll. And what it'll do is once I click import down here in the bottom right corner, it will create a new bin called B-roll, and it will have these 4 clips in it, or however many clips that I choose to put in there. So it's a great way to just start organizing your clips. So for instance, I usually have, every project has, video footage, sometimes still photos, graphics and logos, music, sound effects, and I organize each of those into their own folder at this level right here, so that once I get into Premiere, I know where everything is, and it's easy to find things. It's also easy to search for things, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But this is a great way just to start off and to get organized. I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to deselect these because I've already brought everything in. But let's keep going down the list here. Next, we have copy media. Now, let's say you go out and spend a day or 2 days with Steven out in one of his Death Valley photo things that he does. I always see the ads for those. I think it's Death Valley, but it's somewhere out in the desert where I think he drags you out there and makes you take pictures and shoot a bunch of stuff. So if you go out there and do all that and you come back with your DSLR and you've got your video footage and your card and your photos on a card, and you need to copy them from the card into your computer, this is where copy media comes in. So you can basically plug either a card reader or your camera right into your computer, turn this on, and what it'll do is you can then go through here, select your camera from over here, pick all the pictures, video clips that you want here, and then it will copy that from the card to wherever you tell it to save on your system, to whatever hard drive you want to. Now, you have a couple things in here to remember. You have copy with verification, copy without verification. I would always say use verification. It's basically just going to do a checksum to make sure everything that copies over is exactly what it's supposed to be. You want to make sure of that. Copy files destination. This is basically where you're going to save them. So you can choose the location. You can use a preset location, same as project. Basically, it's just asking you where do you want to put them, and it's giving you those options. So, and then that's it. And once you click import down at the bottom, it will copy everything from your camera or card reader and then put it where you need it to. And if you turn on the verification, it will check it to make sure that every file is just as it should be. So that's a very handy thing to use when you're out in the field. Create new sequence. What this will basically do is after you import all these clips in, it will put them in a bin, and then it will create a sequence with all of them on there. I'll be honest with you, I don't use this selection too often. I know a lot of people who do. They like to just have everything. It's like, here's all my clips, and I want to just have them on the sequence so I can get started editing. That's a great way to work. It's not how I usually work, but that doesn't mean it won't be perfect for you. Editing is about finding a workflow that works for you. So, what may not work for me may work for you. You just got to find out and try stuff and see where, what you like. All right. So going on down the list, one of my favorite things, automatic transcription. So this does exactly what it says. So let's say we're going back to the analogy of the story, or the idea that you're out there filming with Steven on one of his things. So let's say you're out there, you shoot a bunch of pictures and you shoot some video of yourself. Hey, I'm out here with Steven Burns in the San Diego Photoshop user group, and we're taking pictures, and boy, it's hot. And I wish Steven would give me some water, but he's hogging it all. Whatever you want to do, whatever you're saying to yourself on video or shooting video of things, this selection, turning this on will transcribe all of that for you and create a transcript that you can then use to search and edit from. And we will get into that a little bit later. But if I turn it on, you can see it'll choose the language. I'm assuming most people are using English, but if you don't, you got a whole bunch of different languages you can choose from. You can separate the speakers if there's more than one speaker here. This last one is kind of a key thing to remember. So you have auto transcribe clips only in sequence or auto transcribe all imported clips. I usually turn on the all imported clips because basically that's going to, any video clip that has audio, it's going to look for somebody speaking and transcribe it. Now, you may not want to do that for one reason or another. And there are a lot of reasons why you wouldn't. You can also choose to auto transcribe only clips in a sequence. So basically, if you put something in a sequence, it will then start to transcribe it. That can come in play if, let's say you're working on a video and you don't need everything transcribed. You just need what's on your timeline transcribed because maybe you're going to make captions from it. And we'll cover that. That's where that might come in handy. Auto transcribing all your clips is definitely going to take more time at the beginning. It might slow your system down a little bit because once you get everything in, Premiere is going to want to analyze all that and transcribe it. And so that works in the background. And if your system's not very robust, or you're kind of limited on hard drive speed or size, that could impact that. So it's really up to you on how you like to work. But that's basically what that does. So the last thing we'll talk about real quick is media analysis. This is super cool, and it's brand spanking new in Premiere. Basically, what this is going to do is it's going to look at everything that you bring in and sort of create a catalog of it, sort of like a metadata file or folder. It's not an accessible metadata folder, or you can't go into it and look, but what you can do is you can access it. So for instance, this clip right here of this woman drinking water. So if you were editing and you wanted to say, hey, I need somebody drinking water, Premiere is going to create from this clip, woman, water bottle, drinking, park, towel, everything that it sees in there, it's going to put into this, associated with that clip, into this folder, or into this file. And then when you need to find something, you'll be able to search for it and find it. And I'm going to show you that in a little while. But I wanted to know, if you turn this on, it does that search and builds that catalog. You can turn that off if you don't need to. Again, it saves overhead when you're starting to go into Premiere, but for my money, why wouldn't you want that on? It's a good search tool to have. So, all right, that is the import tab. I think we've covered it. If there's any questions on it, I'll do that now. Otherwise, let's dive in and start talking some editing.
Okay, so Robert 2025 mentioned, I assume the transcribe is just adding metadata to the file.
Yes, the transcription creates a metadata that actually lives inside of the project file, the Premiere Pro project file. It doesn't get attached to the video clip itself.
All right, so he made a comment. Is metadata the same as that in Lightroom? I think, go ahead and answer that.
Yeah, so it's pretty much the same. So the metadata that we've talked about so far, which is basically the transcription and the media analysis, those it's metadata, but it's not like the transcription stuff you can access using the text panel inside of Premiere, and I'll show you that in just a bit. But it's not something accessible outside of that, really. And then the media analysis, again, is the same sort of thing. It's accessible to search for inside of Premiere. But what Premiere does is, and I don't know if I can share see if I can do this here. See, it's not showing me that. But basically Premiere creates a print file. Let me see if I can get that up here. File Explorer. Can you all see my Explorer file or window here?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So let's come here. So you'll see right here, it says PSUG Demo 2025 Print. That is, and it says over here, Adobe Media Intelligence project index file. So it's a 91 kilobyte size file, but that file right there contains all of the metadata for that media intelligence that we'll demo in a little bit. So again, it's not really accessible really outside of Premiere, but it is metadata, and Premiere does have a metadata folder where you can go in and add all the same kind of metadata that you would in Lightroom and things like that. But those two things are different, set up a little differently. All right, moving over. Okay, so this is Premiere. This is the thing you'll look at once you get going here. Now, since most of you consider yourselves beginners, I'm not going to spend a lot of time going over the interface here. But I will spend just a bit of time just for people that might not know what everything is, or there might be things here that you just never have messed with before or don't really understand exactly what it is. So we can dive deeper on anything we need to. So just let me know in the chat, or let Steven know and he'll let me know. But basically the way things lay out is you've got a project panel, which is right here. That has everything that you brought in, all of your assets live in this folder. I have things, and I should start by saying I have things grouped a certain way. Premiere lets you create a workspace to sort of lay out everything. And you can see over here under this little box right here where it says workspaces, this is a whole list of different workspaces. So I'm using my laptop workspace since that's what I'm on. You can see Z8 workspace, which is for my Z8 workstation over to my left. That's because that's a 2-monitor setup. So things are laid out a little bit different there. But I've got all these other different workspaces here that sort of rearrange the panels here to be more optimal for what I need to do. So like when we get into color, we get into audio, you'll see that I'll change the workspace and the panels all shift around. The panels are easy to move. If you have never done it, you can just grab kind of up here where the name is, click with your mouse and drag, and you can see you can readjust these panels wherever you want. But if you've never done that before, that's how that works. But let's get into this. So again, project panel. This is where all my assets are. You can look at things in a folder view this way. You can look at things in a list view this way. Or you can use this freeform view, which I don't really use. It allows you to sort of move things around and kind of just shape things a little bit more, as the name implies, freeform. Go back to this view. Over here, I can create a new bin through this little icon in here. And then this is my new sequence icon, and our new item icon, I should say. We'll get to that in just a little bit. But anyway, that's the project bin. All my effects are right here. Transitions, video effects, audio effects, all that kind of stuff is right there. I'm going to skip over to Media Browser. One great thing about Premiere, and I don't know if this is the way it really works in Photoshop, but in Premiere, there's always more than one way to skin the proverbial cat. That's one thing I love about it. There's multiple ways to get a lot of things done. Media Browser is a way to import footage. It's kind of like the import screen in that you have all your drives over here, and you can bring things in just by kind of drilling down and looking through folders. And then you can see over here, what did that say? Premiere secret session. I should probably look in there, but I'm not going to do it now while I'm online because clearly it's a secret. Anyway, you can see I'm able to look in all these different folders, and I can click on here and see footage. And so, it's just another way to import things. I can right click and choose import here, and it'll bring things in. I can open it in the source monitor, which I'll get to in a minute. So it's just another way to access. It's an older version of the import tab is a good way to think of it.
So David Glenn has a question.
Yep.
He says, can you create a text file? Sometimes I like to add my separate dialogue that I make up. It would be nice to be able to bring it up in Word and correct my dialogue. that I give on a camera to read back and run through the AI voice.
Not sure I follow exactly. So you can, if you have yourself on camera recording yourself, you talking on camera, you can use Premiere to transcribe it, and then you can go in, and then yes, you can put that text on screen. You don't need to send it to Word. You can actually spell correct inside Premiere, and then create captions to have that come on screen. You shouldn't need to use Word for anything. What you can't do is, when I heard AI voice, I was wondering if you mean that have Premiere create spoken word from text using AI technology, and right now Premiere doesn't do that inside of it. So
yeah, he mentions to read back and run through his AI voice.
Read back.
So it
So
looks like he's reading it through his AI voice program.
Oh, so he's creating a voice, like a vocal track using AI, and then he wants to put it inside of Premiere to be able to use. And will Premiere transcribe it? I guess I'm a little lost on his question there.
Yeah, maybe he can clarify.
Yeah, can he come on mic and ask it?
I
don't know if you guys can do that or not, but
I can let him in the room.
If it's, if he's like, if I haven't answered his question, and I'm happy to chat with him. If it's up to you, I don't know how you do these things, but
no, we're gonna leave it the way it is now.
All right, fair enough. Well, hopefully that answers your question. If it doesn't, bring it back up at the end and let's dive deeper on it, and we'll see if we can get it answered for you. Maybe I'll answer it between now and then. So, the next thing is the text panel that I'll talk about. Text panel, basically, this is what we talked about with transcripts and stuff, and I'll load that up and show you how that all works in a minute. Source monitor. Source monitor is where we view our clips to start doing some editing. So if I double click, like there's our lady with the water bottle again. If I double click on that, it brings her up into the source monitor. Wow, I'm just noticing that that's a watermark clip. Okay, thought I owned that clip, but apparently I don't. Anyway, so I can bring her up here and I can sort of do my edits there. We'll get to that in just a bit. Effects controls basically is all of on one of my clips on a timeline here. So let's do this clip. This controls has all the scale, position, cropping, opacity. We'll get to this a little bit later, but just basically all the controls to adjust the clip on the timeline. Properties panel is something relatively new. If you haven't used it, you really should start using it, and I'll dive into why that's a handy thing to have in just a bit. You got your audio track mixers, which basically shows your audio levels for a track. So this is track 1, track 2, track 3. When you can see you have these different tracks down here. This controls the overall track level, not a clip, but if I have 5 audio tracks on track 1, 5 audio clips, I should say, on track 1, this will control the volume up and down for all of them, sort of at a global level. I can always go in and fine tune each one individually if I need to. You kind of do that with this audio clip mixer. So I know it's kind of confusing. You got an audio track, audio clip, but clip is clip based, track is track based. Easy way to think of it. Program monitor. This is basically where we see things play out. So if I hit my space bar and hit play, this is where all the magic happens. This is where you see the edits and everything else. So that's the program monitor. Finishing up, we got the toolbar, which has all of our tools. You've got your razor tool, pen tool, type tool, all that, and we'll get into some of that a little bit later. And then you've got your sequence right down here, and then you've got your VU meters, which is your audio levels. And once we drop some audio down there, you'll see them start to bounce around. But yeah, it's just telling you how loud things are. So, okay, let's kind of dive in here. So I have already created a sequence here, but if we're starting from the very beginning, the first thing you would need to do is create a sequence. And to do that, you come to this new item icon, which is in your project panel. And if I click on it, you'll see I got this little drop down. There's a whole load of stuff here. But the thing we're most concerned with right now is sequence. So I click sequence, it brings up this menu. Now, these are all the sequence presets. Now, something to keep in mind when you work with video is that unlike photography, where you just bring stuff into Photoshop and it's whatever resolution it is, and then you can work on it, when you're setting up a project, you have to sort of think at the end of like what you want, what resolution do you want to work at? You need to factor in, am I doing an HD video, which is 1920 by 1080? Am I doing something in 4K? Am I doing something in standard definition, which is old school? Am I doing something bigger than 4K? 8K, for example. You need to figure that out now, because you have to create a sequence that matches that resolution. A lot of times you go out and shoot 4K footage or HD footage, and so you just match what that is, what you shot at. But this little drop down will help you determine what size, what resolution. So, for instance, HD 1080p, which is pretty good size. There's HD 1080 and HD 720, and then your frame rate. Frame rate's important to know too. You have to be at the right frame rate. Most professionals shoot video at what we call 24p, which is 23976, or for TV broadcast, everything is 2997. So you can see here, I've got 23976, 25 frames per second for our friends over in Europe who just had to be a little different, 2997 for our broadcast friends, and then 50, which again is more tied for like a European type thing. We're going to stick at 23976 for now for what we work at. But again, you have to know what your video footage was shot at, and that's what you want to match. And I'm going to show you something in just a second that's an easy way to bypass all of this if you just completely I have no clue what I'm doing with any of that stuff. But you give your sequence a name here at the bottom, click OK, and it will create that sequence for you. Getting back to what I just said, if you're just lost and dude, I have no idea what my camera shoots at. I just shoot video, and I just want Premiere to just accommodate that. No worries, I got you covered. If you come, I'm going to come to interviews here. And I've got some video clips here. And so I've got my gaffer Tommy here with his little color board. And this clip right here, you can see in this little panel here, it's a 4K clip at 23976 with 8 channels of audio. If I grab that clip in my program monitor, click and drag it over to that new item icon. Remember that one we just looked at to create a sequence? If I just click and drag that, you can see there's a little plus that happens over that little hand. See, it's gone. Now it's there, gone. There. If I drag on that, it will create a new sequence for me, and all of the settings will be for that sequence will be based on that clip. And so now I am good to go. You can see I've got my clip here. Got it. And boom, we're all ready to go. So again, if you're really unclear, that's the best way to go. And you can easily set up sequences using that. So I'm going to undo. Oops. We'll get back to normal here. So that's how we create a new sequence. Let's start doing some editing. Come on. That's what we're here to do. So let's get into it. So let's talk about how to edit stuff in the source monitor. First thing I'm going to do is come find a clip. Now, looking at all this clip, you can see I've already got some B-roll shots laid out here on my timeline. Because let's face it, watching people edit is like watching paint dry. I'm assuming working in Photoshop is kind of similar. Like if you had a client sit in while you were touching a photo up, there's a lot of just stuff that goes on that's just like mouse click over here. Let me fine tune this, whatever. If somebody were in there watching, they'd be like, at a certain point. So I try to do a little bit of pre-editing for you just to sort of get that out of the way. But that being said, let's talk about how to use that source monitor for editing. So you can see over here real quick, this video clip right here, this is that starting shot. And you can see how there's a blue little icon in the corner. That tells me, if I hover over it, tells me that clip has been used twice already. And it tells me exactly where it is. And I can click and it will take me right to it. So if we come over here, boom, that takes me. So that's a really handy way to know when you've used a clip or not. But I'm going to take this clip right here, and it's a doctor looking at a patient here. So let's say I'm going to kind of scrub through, and I'm using my mouse to move my little CTI, control time indicator here. And I'm going to line up. I want right here. So I'm going to mark I on my keyboard for in, or I can click on this little button right here. Again, always more than one way to do something. That sets my in point. I'm going to play through. Oh yeah, kind of like that. And boom, right there. That's my out. So I'm going to click O for out, or I can click right here. And then I can drag it down to my timeline. It's super simple. I can use keyboard shortcuts to do it, but easiest way is just to click right here and drag it. And I'm going to put it right there. So boom, we are good. So that's an easy way to get footage from your source monitor to do some editing there, and then just to drag clips down and get it onto your timeline. Now, one thing I wanted to talk about was when you have, now this clip doesn't have any audio with it, but what if you have audio? Let's go to one of my interview clips and let's choose this gentleman right here. So this is an interview clip we did, and you can hear the audio is kind of bad, but you can hear it there.
And Stella Ambassador Retta, we were able to.
Okay, so if I were to make an edit, so let's just roll back here. Let's say I want to start my edit.
2025 is shaping up to be a pivotal year for our Stella community.
I want to make my endpoint right there.
But first, I want to take a moment to reflect on the last year and everything that we accomplished together.
Right there's my out. Now, if I click, you see I've got these two icons right here. One's a little film strip, and one's like a little audio waveform. If I click the audio waveform, there's my audio. So this is the audio that is associated with that clip. And you can see there's a bunch of different tracks here. This camera shoots with 8 audio tracks. It only records to 4, but it records 8 onto the track. Don't ask me. It's Sony. They do what they want to do. What are you going to do? But the point I want to make is that the ability to be able to select what you want to drag to your timeline is in your source monitor. So for instance, if I just wanted to have the video of him, I can click on this little drag video only, and it will just drag that down. And you can see right there, I've just added the clip. There's no audio with it though. Okay. If I just wanted the audio, I could hover over drag audio only, click and drag with my mouse, and boom, there's all the audio tracks. So now I've just done that. If I want both, same deal. I just have to click anywhere here in the source monitor. I can click and drag, and boom, I've got them. And those files are locked together, the audio and the video, so that you don't ever lose sync, unless you choose to unlock them, which case you could. And trust me, that happens. But anyway, so that's kind of the source monitor and how you can edit from the source monitor and drag different components of the video clip, just the video, just the audio, and drag them down to your timeline. Okay, so we've done that. Let's talk about the effects control panel real quick. Now, again, I'm assuming most of you probably know this, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but you pretty much probably already know that there's a scale button, which controls the scale of a clip, the position, which controls the position of it, and I'm just clicking with my mouse and dragging over. If I hold down the shift key, look how fast you can go. That's a good way to do things. Just hold down that shift key. Let me reset everything. I can also select this over here, and I can move it around just with my mouse by clicking and selecting that as well. And if I need to set keyframes, I can set keyframes. So for instance, if I want to start it right there, I'm going to turn on the stopwatch. Let's come back to the beginning of the clip. And then I'm going to drag the time control indicator there, and I'm going to drag the clip here. And you can see it automatically added a new keyframe, and now I got some really bad animation, but you get the point. So, but that's all inside your effects control panel. And that is all of your effects, like if you add color correction, audio effects, all the parameters to control those are going to live in your effects controls panel. Now, we've talked about that. Let's go into the properties panel. Properties panel is, as I mentioned at the beginning, is brand new to Premiere. I think it's been in just the last couple versions. It's essentially the effects control panel, but with some improvements. So what I can do here is I can select down on my timeline. I'm going to select both of these clips. You'll see right here. And normally, with just the effects control, if I wanted to adjust the scale of them both, I would have to do them individually. But with the properties panel, I can select them both. I can adjust the scale now, and it does it for both of them. So now both of those are small. So that's a really handy thing. If you need to do change the parameters of multiple things at one time, properties panel is where that's at. So over time, I think between you and me, and I haven't heard this officially, I think that the plan is to phase out the effects control panel and just to move everything over to the properties panel. Properties panel also does more when it comes to adding text on screen, to captions and things like that. And we'll talk about that when we get there a little bit later in the demo. So anyway, so that's the property panel. We've got that. Let's real briefly cover some basic editing. I'm again assuming that most of you know this, but let's dive in here. Just going to check time here. Okay, where we're at. There's basically 3 kinds of edits. There's a rolling edit, there's a ripple edit, and there's a trim. So let's talk about just the basic trim first. This is just your basic edit. You can see if I hover over this edit point here on my timeline, I got this little red arrow that kind of goes on either side of the edit point. And if I drag with my mouse and click, it will drag up there and pull that up. If I hold down my control or command on a Mac, for all you Mac folks, you see it turns yellow, and that will basically perform a ripple edit. Now you notice when I did that trim edit, it created a hole here. Now I can clean that hole up by coming right-clicking in the space and choose ripple delete, and it will pull everything up. Or I can just use the ripple tool, and it will pull everything up for me, just like that. The last edit is a rolling edit. And again, holding down the command, you can see I get those little arrows on either side. And what that's good for is just shifting around your edit point. So it basically, you can see I'm not changing the endpoint of either of these clips. I'm just shifting where that edit point is. And this is really good if you're trying to match an action. So for instance, if you're cutting on a shot where somebody's reaching to grab something, let's say you've got a wide shot with their, them sitting at a table, and then you kind of cut into like their hand, getting on the top of a soda can to open up a Coke, because I wish I had a Coke right now. You could match that using this tool by sliding things around, and sort of, because you can see, look at my program monitor, I can see one side and I can see the other. So you can kind of line up the wide shot and the close up where things match the best, and then make that perfect edit. So I'm going to undo everything here. One other quick thing I wanted to show you that's a really handy feature. If you need to make quick edits from the head or tail of a clip, you have the Q and W keys. So for instance, I'm going to play this clip, and let's say I actually want to start the shot right there. I can go Shift W, and it just took off everything before my playhead. Okay, and I can do Shift Q. I'm sorry, Shift W will take everything behind the playhead and pull it up. So those are a couple of quick keyboard shortcuts. Shift Q, Shift W to make quick edits, to pull everything up from before the playhead. It deletes it. Watch again, Shift Q will just delete everything before that playhead. So it's a really nice way to cut. No, I don't want to do that. There we go. That's a really quick, handy tool to be able to use to make edits really fast, just to trim the heads and tails off of things. All right, where are we here? So we covered that. Oh, one of my favorite things. Before we get too far, let's talk about, we talked about media intelligence earlier. Let's talk about using it. So up here in the top, you have this search panel button. Let's click on that. Now, let's search, let's find our water bottle lady. So if I search for water bottle, there she is. So basically what it's done is it's gone through and cataloged, like I said, all the clips, and it sees a water bottle in there. So all I have to do is a water bottle, and boom, I can find that clip. I think there was a shot of a doctor with an iPad. So let's search for iPad. And so it's thinking that our color chart is an iPad. Folks, we don't have to worry. AI is not as smart as we think it is. But clearly you can see iPad, 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 iPad. So it knows that it found the iPad in those shots. Now, what's interesting about this panel is we dive in a little deeper here. You have the ability to choose where to search. You can search everything, just visuals, text, or metadata. So that's how we search. I've just got it set to search everything, but you can dial that in if you need to. You have also the ability to search everything, be it source clips in your bins or just in sequences. So I can say, you know what? Because right now it's showing me this clip is used in the bin, and it's used, that's a little sequence icon right there. this little thing right there. That's a sequence. It's saying it's used in a sequence as well. So if I click source, now this is just where everything is in my bin. If I click sequence, this is just showing me where things are in a sequence. So I'm going to do one more search here. Now, we did transcribe a bunch of interviews, and all the interviews that I transcribed are all basically biotech company people talking about stuff. And I'm sure at some point they mentioned something about a patient. But I got to find where they talked about that. So did I spell patient right? I'm a terrible speller. So that's not right either. Okay. Let's just do patient there. Okay. There we go. Patient. So my mom actually bought me when I was in 7th grade a bad speller's dictionary. That's how bad I am at spelling. It hasn't gotten any better. Anyway, you can see here, it went through. It found all the clips where a patient is included. I don't know why. I guess they consider my gaffer Tommy a medical patient, but Tommy would be happy to know that. But you can see down here in the text, it went through the transcriptions for these interviews and found where the word patient was and is showing me that in there. Okay. So again, this media intelligence tool is a great way to find clips, find, for whatever you need to, just searching for any aspect of what you're looking for. Just, if you can remember what was something that was in the shot, it will catalog it and it will be there. Anyway, that is media intelligence. And it is one of the newer features inside Premiere. I am running on Premiere 25.4, which actually 25.4 just came out yesterday. So I like to live on the edge with new versions. As soon as they post it up, I download it, which is probably not always the smartest thing to do. But you know what? Again, I like to live on the edge. So hopefully there's no bugs in this version and nothing crashes, but it went well yesterday in rehearsal. So anyway, that's media intelligence. So let's do a little bit of Gen Extend. So I've got a clip down here, right here, and you can see it's just this woman shaking this bottle. But let's say that let's change this edit point here. I'm going to pull this out all the way, kind of show you something here. So let's adjust it. Now, this is the end of that clip. And you can see it's her starting to shake the bottles, but I can't drag anymore. That's literally the end. It's her just shaking those bottles. But I really want to pick it up I want this to be my shot, but I need it to go just a little bit more. But I don't have it. Well, this is where AI comes in help. You've got this down your toolbar. You've got this thing called Generative Extend Tool. So I'm going to click on that. Now I'm just going to come here and I'm going to drag this shot out just till right there, we'll say. Actually, let's drag it all the way. You can go up to 2 seconds. So let's see what 2 seconds gives us. So you can see it's uploading. So what it's doing is it's taking that last frame of video. It's going to upload it to the Adobe mothership and ship it off to its AI department. Generative AI department is going to figure out 2 more seconds based on everything that it sees here, and then send it back down to my computer and create a new clip. There are lots of things about this that you have to be aware of. You have to use it with certain kinds of footage. It won't work with certain other kinds of footage. And being that it's generative AI, your results may be wonky sometimes. And it's not free. You have to use generative AI credits in order to be able to do this. So if you don't have one of those credit plans, I know they just switched over everything in regards to Creative Cloud plans and Firefly plans. Anyway, Steven can fill you in on all that stuff later, but bottom line is you have to have one of those kind of credit packs in order to be able to use this feature. I think they only let you use it like once or twice. But let's it's got about 50% done here. So while we're waiting here, it should be another like minute or so. Any questions on anything so far? Okay, I guess that's good. Either you're fully understanding everything, or you have all zoned out and are staring at Facebook and X right now. So either way, that's totally fine. I'm here with you all, and my wife is home with my 2 8-year-old twins. So I consider this a break, and I'm happy to spend all day here because I am kid-free. So I shouldn't say that. I love my kids. They're adorable. And I love my wife. but I know she's not watching this, so I can say stuff like that. Oh, I'm kidding. I love my wife. I do. I miss my kids. So anyway, we're almost done here. So it's shipping back down here from the Adobe mothership. It takes a little bit of time. Hey, man, it takes time to generate this kind of stuff. So, there we go. All right, let's play it. Let's see how we did. So let's watch from the beginning. Now you can see it put on my timeline where the AI generated stuff is. So we'll know when it starts. So let's see how it did. It's always a fun thing. Perfect. Whoa, well, it looks a little wonky there at the end. But I think that'll work for what we want. So you can see it created new footage from this. Right there. We'll cut right there. So let's just trim this up and we'll drag this other clip down and boom. And I think that works nicely. So we'll go with that. So that is called, again, Generative Gen Extend is the name that they call it, but Generative Extend Tool is its official title. And again, it really comes in handy. I use that clip or that feature all the time with interviews where somebody gets cut off or somebody's on camera and I need to and I'm cutting in the middle of a sentence for them and I need to sort of end the video or end that clip in a nice way of them just looking at the camera. That feature comes in handy quite a bit. It is really proving itself to be a useful tool. So, and like you see, if you just need a few more seconds, and you can do that at the end of a video, you can do the beginning of a video. You can do that with audio too. So if you need to extend out, you can do 2 seconds of video and 10 seconds of audio. So if I had audio clip and I just needed 10 more seconds of, whatever sound was happening, you can do that and it will extend that as well.
And we've got a couple of questions here.
Let's have them.
All right. So the creative design, the creative edge, Ivan. I think this is Ivan from Orange County, from the Orange County. I think Abuser Group they call them. They're the Premiere Pro After Effects group up there.
Did you say they're the Abuser Group?
The Abuser Group, I think is what they're called. Yeah. So
Ivan, call me, man. Let's talk.
That sounds a little kinky, huh?
Hey, whatever anybody does with them and their laptop is their business. What's up?
That's right. So he says, if I understand correctly, a media search is for imported clips. It does not search all clips on your drive.
That is correct. Yes, it is strictly inside of Premiere.
All right, and then Robert 2025 says, does it extend before? Oh, wait a minute. Before also, wait a minute. Maybe missing. Does it extend also? Okay. He answered the question before the other. Okay, God, forget that one. This one is Digital Media Creatives. There we go. He just gave me the new correct name of the Abuser Group, which is now called Digital Media. Digital Media Creatives. Sorry.
I don't know. I would have stuck with the Abuser Group myself. I mean,
I kind of like the Abuser Group personally, but they had that. It's the new group now.
Okay. Well, first of all, I think you said his name was Ivan that runs that group.
Mm-hmm.
Ivan, if you're listening, please reach out. I would love to chat just to talk user group stories and hear how your group is going and all that. So you can easily find me online. Or I'll put my information in the chat at the end. But I would love to chat with you, either email or phone or Zoom call or something. I always love to meet other fellow user group managers. So anyway, any other questions before we move on?
None.
Okay, we got it all. So let's move on to some text-based editing. And maybe, Stephen, what we do is we'll cover this section and then take a little break so that I can visit a room that's on the other side of this wall and take care of some bio stuff, if you know what I mean.
All right. No worries.
And then we can pick things up and finish off here. So let's see. So text-based editing, here we go. So I have got all my interview clips. This has worked out perfect right here. And if I click on any of these clips, for instance, let's load up this lady right here. All right. Now, this is an interview. And if I come to my text panel, you can see I've already got some text in there. And this is let's play back a little bit here.
And what do you love about being a scientist?
I love how creative it is, being able to go into the lab and I purify proteins and just...
Okay, looks like it does pretty. Now, I know the first thing you're saying is, wow, that audio is terrible. Yeah, I know. It really is. And trust me, I was surprised when I got back in here and heard that on there. I was not happy. Fortunately, we got it fixed and we had it backed up where it sounded clean. But even with that really bad audio on the camera, Premiere was still able to pull a transcript and get it right. Now, I will warn you that transcription accuracy is probably between the 80 to 95% range. If I do a lot of biotech work for these biotech companies with a lot of like giant words that even I can't pronounce, and it doesn't get those words. That's where it kind of falls down. And I would expect it to. I wouldn't expect it to get some of those words right. But, excuse me, by and large, it does really well with, getting these clips. So I had, for some reason, let's see, I wanted to grab that clip. I liked what she said there. So I don't have to do anything other than just being able to get into the lab, purifying proteins, and really proud of it. Perfect. I'm dragging over here in the text panel. And you can see in my source monitor, it's already marked ins and outs based on what I just clicked and dragged over. So now I can come up here and choose to insert or hit the comma key, and it will insert wherever my CTI is here. Or I can just click and drag from the source monitor, and we'll just drag it down there. So boom. Again, I did that all with just looking at text. Let's go back over to her text to see if she has any more. So clicking on the source monitor, just select that. You'll notice that as I go from the sequence, it just shows me that text that's in there now from her. Or if I click on the source monitor and make that my focus, now I see all the text in there. So let's see if she talks about labs. I want to have some lab footage. So if I search for lab in the search bar, you can see right here, we collab. All right, that's not exactly what I want. But let's see what she talks about there. We collaborate with a number of teams and businesses that also, okay, I don't want that. Let's just, so it says right here, there's 2 of 5 results. Okay, so we got lab from that one. Let's search up here. Okay, so that's the first one. We pulled that soundbite. Let's see if there's another one here. Collaborate again. Just to give, we go all therapies to St. Louis. Okay, let's see if there's one more here. Okay, this is all just available. I don't know why that came up. Oh, LAB, I see why. So I see what happened there. Okay, so I want to take this part, which says I'm in discovery for physics, and part of that we're developing antibodies against cancer. We have a unique platform. We design molecules where they recruit in. Okay, so I'm going to grab all that because I think that's good for what we're doing here. So I'm going to click on that, and again, I'm just going to drag that down here and put it right there for now. I'm going to tidy all this up later, but for right now, we'll just set it right there. So let's go to a different clip. Let's take this lady right here. Let's see what she has to say. And you can see I've already got kind of an in and out there, but it's the same thing. So I'm just going to click and drag. It's dragging over in the text panel and then just dragging down and putting that on my timeline. So, and you can see that I've already started to build stuff out here. Now, I want to point out, you can see that I've got all these audio tracks. Again, I mentioned that sometimes cameras, professional video cameras, will record to more than one audio track. Easy way to get rid of all these extra tracks is to just hold down my Alt key. And then I'm going to select all the tracks that I don't want. And you can see, normally, these all are what we call linked, because it's audio video files. They keep them in linked so that they stay in sync. I can always right click and choose unlink, but I don't want to have to do that. I just want to get rid of those bottom 3 tracks that are either empty or just audio I don't need. So using my Alt key and selecting them and choosing delete, boom, they're gone. These clips still stay together and in sync. So we are good to go there. All right, let's keep going here. So we've got those in here, and let's kind of trim those up a little bit here. I'm going to line them up here. So I'm going to get rid of that doctor clip that we pulled. But let's see.
To go just be able to purify them and then see at the end of an experiment, like see how clean they are, and it's really creative.
Okay, so I want to see her back on camera for that. I am really creative, so I'm just going to use my trim tool on this B-roll clip and pull that up, and boom.
It's really creative. I'm really proud of it.
Boom, we like that. Now, I got to pull all these clips up. So there's a couple ways that I can do that. I can choose ripple delete, which will just pull everything up, which is a good way to go, especially in a situation like this. But there's another way to go too. And I don't know how many people use this tool, but you can use your track select tool. So I'm going to use A on my keyboard, or I can come over here and it's the second thing down on my toolbar, track select. And if I just, everything, you can see where my cursor is, everything behind the cursor, click and drag will move. And so boom, there we go. So now I just drug everything up, and I can do the same over here and drag this up. And that's another good way, another shortcut way of moving things around. And again, but the thing to be aware of is it's just moving everything on the other side. If I go back, you can see, if I go back to my track select tool, if I click here, like in the middle, you see how these two clips are not selected. So it's only going to do what is underneath and on the other side of that track select tool. So you got to make sure you grab everything. Otherwise, if you do it like this, you're just going to overwrite that other footage, which you may not want to do. So track select tool is a handy way to move things around. So, okay, so I'm going to move this. So I want to move the placement of this clip to the other side. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to move it over here. And then let's ripple delete. And then we'll pull this up here. Boom, there we go. And that looks great. Okay. So now we've got our video kind of laid out. We have everything there. Now, yes.
It's really creative.
The sound sucks. We will fix that. It needs color correction. See how dark that looks, how dark that looks. There's a lot we still need to do on this, but that will all be in part 2. So right now, I think we're at a good spot to take a little break, if that's okay with you, Stephen.
Yep, that sounds fantastic. And good time for snack break, bathroom break, all that stuff. And then, if you guys have questions, put them in the chat box. We'll hold them off until he comes back from break. And what I'm going to ask you to do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sharing my screen. So I'm going to remove. So don't do anything. Oh, you didn't have to remove your screen.
Oh,
you could actually go on and put it back up.
Okay.
Go on and put it back up. So it'll sit there in the background until I actually put it up and on. And I'm going to share my personal screen.
Well, I'm going to not share my screen because that way I can see what you're doing. So when I share my screen, I can't see. So,
gotcha.
You do your thing, and I'm just going to go get some water. Do a little
All
back.
right.
I'll be right back.
All right, that sounds good. So 15 minutes. I get my little 15-minute timer up here. And what is this? Okay, so this is a different browser. So it likes to use another type of search engine, which I don't like, which is Yahoo. And this one will be a lot more dependable. Okay, 15-minute timer. There they are. Bring it on up. And all right, we're off. So we'll come back and I will mute my mic temporarily. And then we come back. We'll get rocking and rolling again with Eric. Great presentation so far. A lot of questions. People engaged. I love it. I love it. All right, let's take a little break. We'll come back and continue on.
2-minute warning, people.
Yeah, 2 minutes left.
Is it normal that I can't comment like in the comment panel?
You should be able to. Actually, what I do is I usually send everybody to Twitch directly.
Ah, I gotcha.
Here, I'll put the link into the direct link to my Twitch channel.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
Well, I can put it right into, send it directly to you. Private chat.
I don't think I have a Twitch account, so
okay.
It's okay.
It's free.
All right.
Ivan says he'll call and maybe go bowling.
All right. Sounds good. Always up for some bowling.
Ivan's a really good student of mine. And we work privately as well.
How long has he run the user group up there?
A long time. I've been how long have we known each other, Ivan, if you're listening to our conversation? A long time. I was presenting for his group back when I was writing books.
I thought you still wrote books.
Well, this is when I first started writing books. So it was like a while back. Maybe 20 years.
Wow, okay.
All right, it's that time.
Let's do it. We got so much.
All right, we've been getting an incredible response to you and your presentation. Go ahead and show your screen.
Got it. Let me get back on here. Share screen. Yeah. Sure. Okay. Let's get Premiere back up.
All right, and I'm adding you to the stage now.
Okay.
Remove mine and add you. Okay, you're on. You're live.
All right. So when last we left our heroes, we had just dropped in some interview footage, and now it's time to move into doing some other work with audio. But before we do that, I want to shift the edit around a little bit because as an editor, you move stuff around. And so what I want to do is I want to open this video. I'm going to take some of this B-roll that we have. I'm going to move it to the beginning like this. And I want to add a shot of hospital scene here. And I know that I have somewhere in my B-roll, I have a hospital scene. So let's see if we can find it here. So I'm going to search this and say hospital child, because child's sitting in, there it is, right there. So that's what I'm looking for. Okay. So I'm going to drag that in. Oh, I can see it right actually here in my bin. So I'm going to drag this in. Oops. Hold on. I do want that shot before there we go. Okay. So I'm going to drag this here. Okay. So, but what I want to have for this is, you can hear, I don't have none of these shots have any sound with them, but I really like to have a little bit of sound for that shot. Here it's all quiet. And I got this little child laughing. I think it'd be really cool if I could have some ambient sound of the hospital hallway and even the child kind of giggling. I think would be really cool. So, that's pretty specific though. But fortunately, there's some new stuff that you can leverage. It's in kind of beta right now, but you can use AI to create sound effects. So let's jump over to Adobe Firefly, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So everybody can see Adobe Firefly right now, correct? Just making sure. Okay. So we're going to come to this text to sound effects. Now, what this will let me do is I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to say hospital. Well, first off, I want to upload that clip. So I'm going to upload some media here. And I've got that clip already made here. So this is my shot. Okay, and there's the little laugh. Oh, adorable. Okay, so I need some hospital background first off. So let's just say in my prompt, and I will warn you all, I am prompt challenged. I'm still struggling with AI and creating all this stuff, but I don't think I can go too wrong with this. So we're going to say hospital hallway. And let's just generate and see what we come up with. So I'm just generating that hospital ambient sound. So it gives me 4 variations here. So let's hear how they sound. Pretty good. That was pretty good too. They're all right. That could be a hallway. Well, let's see. Now I want to check one more thing in here. So I've got some footsteps. Hallway, hospital. Let's see if I can with footsteps. Just to see if I can generate something like that to be a little bit more specific here. All right, let's see what this sounds like. Okay, I like that. Not a lot of footsteps. Too slow. No, don't like that one. Okay, I'm going to go with this first variation. So all I have to do now is click on that, and then it adds it down here. I've got this like little timeline going on here. And I can drag that out to fill the space here. And I'm going to add another track. Okay. Now, the thing that I don't have, though, is I don't have the little child giggle. It would be kind of nice to have a little laugh right there. But let's hear how this sounds right now. Come on, Firefly. Okay, I'm okay with that for right now. But here's where it gets really interesting. So I want to do that laugh, but I need it to sort of time out to where the child is laughing on the screen. So what I can do is I can choose to record my own voice and just make a sound, and then it will, I'm going to say child laughing, and it's going to generate that child laughter and match it with what I do here. So that sounds a little confusing. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to record my voice, and let's see if this works. Hopefully the mic situation here is going to work. So let's see. Record voice. I want to choose what mic do I want to share? I think I want to do this one. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Yes, that's the mic I want to use. So I'm keeping it different from the other mic I'm using here. So let's do that. Okay, here we go. Okay, so you can see it made a little voice recording of me laughing. Okay, so now what I can do is I'm going to click generate, and it's going to generate. Let's see how this sounds. I don't know about that one. That was no good.
It's like an alien.
No. That one's no good. I don't know what that was.
It sounds like it's going to eat you.
Yeah. Giggling. Gig. All right. I don't think I spelled that right. Yeah. Thank you. Spell correct. Giggling. All right. Let's try giggling here. Let's give it one more shot. If it doesn't work, I've got one that I pre-made. We'll just go with that one. All right. Let's see how this one sounds. All right. AI is wonderful, isn't it? Okay. Try this one. Well, that one might work. We're going to go with that one. Okay. So I'm going to click add to track. Now we'll sync this up here. Now I can adjust the audio level. You see it's at 25% on each of them, but I can adjust that down if I need to, just by sliding this down. So I can make it a little bit fainter so it's not so loud. And I can make this one a little bit louder, just to sort of override that. Okay, it's not perfect, but you get the gist, okay? So what's great about this technology is you can go in and just continue to play and come up with custom sound effects. I've seen people go over to Firefly text to video, create, sound or create images, and then bring that video over into here and then create the sound behind it for animals, for cars, for, other planes, whatever, you can, and recording your own voice, you can create that sync point to sync up all the sounds with. So I think you kind of get the gist here of where I'm going with this, but it's really a powerful tool for helping create sound design for your projects. I absolutely love it. And it's obviously, it's still, a work in progress. They're still working stuff out on it, but it is really good. And it's on its way of being amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and just drop in the one that I made yesterday, which is right here. Put that right there. And you can hear how this is what I created yesterday when I was doing some testing. I think that one works a little bit better. So, but anyway, so that is Firefly sound effects. And it's really, really a handy thing. So next thing I want to do is we've got to lay in some music here. So let's do that. I've got a music track right here. We're going to use this track because I think it's the best. I've got two. This one's, I think, is a little too slow, but one thing I wanted to talk about was if you struggle to find music, and who doesn't, one thing you can do is we can come over into our audio workspace. I'm going to click on audio and over here in workspaces. It's going to shift things around here. I'm going to click browse, and inside browse in the essential sound panel, you have all these different sound effects. You have music tracks, and you've got a lot of free stuff too, like party crowd sound effect for free. Now, I don't think we need that for this video, but but that's, if you needed that sound effect, it's there and it's free, and you can download it and put it into your project. Now I'm going to go to music and click on free, and you can see I've got all these free tracks right here. Now, Party in Paradise might not be what we're looking for. Vocals, no vocals. I don't want vocals for this. You can choose the duration. You can kind of get up all these, or choose all these different things. I don't want party. So let's see. Show me again. See, now that could work for the video that we're creating. So, and again, that's free music. And if you notice, it's syncing up to the video. So I can get a good idea of how it sounds for this video. So that's, again, it's free and it's music, and I can get a sense of it. And there's a whole bunch of other tracks here that are free. So if you get really stuck on music and you need to go find some music or some sound effects, Essential Sound Panel, it's going to go to Adobe Stock, and they've got all this stuff there for you to use. So it's definitely a resource that you should lean on. If you didn't know about that, it's all there for you to use. So I'm going to go with the track that I had because I like it best. So I'm going to put that right here, and you can see drop that in. And now that clip's a little loud, so I'm going to adjust the volume level on that clip. And the way that I can do that is a couple ways that I can do that. I can just drag this little rubber band thing here, and you can see the waveforms getting louder or softer. The other thing is I can use the bracket keys on my keyboard, And that allows me to make adjustments while the clip is playing. So I'm going to hit play.
Been able to.
And you can see I was able to adjust that down in real time as I'm playing it. So bracket keys on your keyboard, the bracket left, the bracket right, one goes up, one goes down, and it'll adjust those waveforms and that volume level for you as you're playing back in real time. So it's a great way to work and not have to like make adjustment, play, make adjustment, play. Just hit play and then just go back and forth on those keys so you get the right level that you're looking for. Again, bracket keys on your keyboard. So we've got our music track in there. Now, a couple things with it. You can tell it's a little too long, but that's fine. We can fix that. So if I come over here to my Essential Sound panel, now I want to highlight something else. Something else Premiere does when it brings in assets is it what we call auto tags them. So for audio. So you can see here, I've got real tiny, I've got this little like head with a voice coming out of it. And on the music track, I've got a music symbol right here. Premiere basically went through and said, hey, this sounds like dialogue, so we're going to label it dialogue. And this sounds like music, so we're going to label it music. And that is really handy when you come in later because like right now, there's two things I'm going to do to this music track. The first thing is I need to shorten it and I need it to be lower so that I can hear the people talking. So let's shorten it first of all. And the easiest way to do that is to come here and choose duration. And again, I've got the music track selected and I'm in my Essential Sound panel. I'm going to turn on duration. I'm going to click this little button right here that says remix. Some of you may have heard of this or seen this. It's been around for like a couple versions. But if I turn on remix, and let's see, my video right now ends at around, we're going to say 126 because we're going to add a little company logo at the end. So I need the target duration. Right now, it is 3 minutes and 13 seconds. I need it to be 1 minute and 26 seconds. So all I have to do is click over this and drag till we get to around 126. And you can see it's now analyzing the clip right here on my timeline. So it's going to analyze it. It's going to edit the music for me. And now it's not going to get it. It doesn't always get it exactly right, you know, because it is music. It's got beats, so there's a timing structure to it. You can't just get it that way. But it gets it fairly close sometimes. And this time it looks like it did a pretty good job.
Sorry, and kill the counter sales. So that's ultimately what we do in our group.
Couldn't be any better than that. We'll put that company logo at the end and we'll be good. Now, you can see here these squiggly lines. That is where it made the edits. So let's listen to see how it did. I don't know about you, but I could not hear any edits to the music at all. It sounds perfectly smooth. So it did a tremendous job. So that's awesome. Super happy with that. So that's remix in the Essential Sound panel for retiming your music. So now we got our music done, but it's still too loud. So no problem. We're going to come up to what's called ducking, and we're going to turn ducking on. Now, ducking is basically it's a feature where it will lower the volume of the audio, the music, underneath people talking. Now, you can see that I've got these clips of people talking currently. This one is, what is this one? This is this audio from the sound effects thing that we did. That's being labeled as dialogue. I want it to be labeled as ambient sound, not dialogue. So I'm going to clear that audio type up here. See, I've got the clip selected, clear audio type, and I'm going to say ambience. So now basically what that tells Premiere to do is I don't want the music being lowered under that clip, but under these three talking points, I do. So I'm going to, the default settings for these usually hits it 100% of the time. So I'm going to click generate keyframes with that music track selected, and it's going to work. And you can look, see, boom, it's done. It added 2 keyframes at the beginning, 2 keyframes at the end.
been able to go into the lab and
Perfect. Lowered it down so we could hear that horrible audio that we're going to fix in just a minute. And then look at this.
ultimately what we do in our group.
I mean, come on. You know how much time I saved by not having to manually create keyframes and go in and do that? I mean, that is just, that's what we need AI for right there. Okay. So there's all kinds of other things that you can do in this sound panel as well. For instance, you can repair audio, fix audio, adjust the levels and things like that. For instance, this woman's audio right here is a perfect example. Listen to this. Let's mute the music here.
I'm just, it's really creative.
Okay, that's pretty bad. Now, I'm going to select that track, and you've got this feature in here called Enhance Speech. I'm going to click on Enhance. Premiere is going to analyze that audio and clean it up as best it can. Let's see how well it does. Let's click Enhance. And for those of you who have ever, there's a thing, so Adobe has something called Adobe Podcast, or now it's just Enhanced Sound version 2. It's a web-based thing where you can upload clips to clean up. That technology in version 2 is actually better than what's in Premiere right now. That version, I believe, is coming to Premiere at some point, that version 2, but right now we just have version 1, which still does the trick. All right, let's listen to our audio here. I'm going to turn this off just so you have
Purify.
Okay, terrible audio. Let's turn this back on. We did the enhance. Let's hear how it sounds.
And why I purify proteins and just be able to purify them and then see at the end.
It's better, but it's not perfect. I'm going to slide this mix amount over. I'm going to do it while it's playing so you can kind of hear.
Proteins and just be able to purify them and then see at the end of an experiment, like see how they are. And I'm just, that's really creative. Really creative.
All right, can you hear how clean that sounds now?
That's really creative. Really perfect. Yes. That's really creative.
Boom. Clean that up. Sounds perfect. Okay. There's a little yes at the end there. I want to lose that. So let's drag that up here. Okay. So we totally cleaned that up. It sounds 100 times better. Now we need to do it because remember we have 2 instances of that. So we need to do it for both of them. So we can go clean up the other audio track as well.
Right.
So let's do that over here.
Platform.
So we'll do the same thing. I'm just going to click Enhance. It's going to do its little dance here. It's going to send some stuff. This is all actually happens internal. It doesn't send to the cloud anymore. So this is all happening in the machine on your system. So it's going to clean it up for me. It's so bad we'll have to crank it to 11 or 10. It's the highest it goes. It's a little Spinal Tap joke.
Where we design the molecules where they can recruit and eliminate themselves. Target.
So boom, that sounds good. So now we've cleaned up that audio. Got everything sounding really good. We've got our music in. The only other thing to do is we can fine tune some audio here using the track or the clip level. So or track mixer or the clip mixer. So I'm going to come in and play the music here. So I kind of want that music to fade in when we start, and I want the image to fade up. So you can see I've got this little box right here on the audio track. If I click on that and drag over, you can see I'm adding a fade up, and I can adjust that fade to sort of be however I want it to be, dynamically. So I'm going to click right there, and then up here on that clip, I'm going to hit Control or Command D, which will add a default transition. Now, my default transition is set to dissolve. So you can see it comes up perfect. It fades up. The music fades up. Just how I want it. That's perfect. All right, so we're looking good. We've got that. And you can see now, let's come back to my track mixer. So the music might be a little too hot, so I might bring that down just a little bit. So again, this track mixer is going to bring everything down on that audio track 3, which is my music. So So I can get just the level that I want.
Been able to go into the lab and I purify proteins and just
So I'm going to bring up the vocal channel too.
purifying and then see.
That sounds pretty good. Let's hear the next person.
And what
Now she's a little bit more quiet, but I don't want to bring up the whole level. I don't want to adjust her level with the track mixer because I've already got the level set for the other person. So I'm going to use those bracket keys with that selected to up the level here.
that means is I get to work with a group of amazing scientists here in San Diego and also in a couple of other BMS.
Perfect, right there. So again, I just use those bracket keys to control the level for her audio individually, and we're all set. And over here in your essential sound, you've got all kinds of different things. You can reduce noise, reduce rumble, de-hum, de-ess, reduce reverb, all these different things. If you need to turn on to help clean up your sound, you can turn that on as well. You've got some EQ stuff here, vocal enhancers, which also, help clean up and make your audio sound a little bit better. I will be the first to admit I am not an audio person expert at all. And this sound panel is incredibly helpful for people like me because I can go in and just use these sliders to clean up my audio. If I have real problems, I send it off to an audio expert, but a lot of times this panel can help me get what I need to do. All right. So with that, let's move on to the next step. So we need to add a lower third. So let's come out of this audio, come back to my workspace here. Any questions on the audio stuff before I move on to the next section? Nothing? All right, good. So let's create some text. Text is easy to do. I'm just going to come over to my tool panel, collect the type tool. I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to type on boss lady. I don't know what her name is. And that'll be her lower third. Now, if we wanted to change the font of that, let's come to my properties panel. Remember we talked about effects controls in the properties panel. Excuse me, the property panel is where we fix all of our text and deal with it all. So I'm going to change this to that. So this will be up for a little bit longer. So this is my text. Now I don't like that font. So I can come up and with that text clip selected on my timeline, I can just come to my font and I'm going to just say, I want it to be Arial, regular. Why? Arial is probably the most basic font you can choose, but I have all these different fonts here. Let's pick something different. Why not? Let's be a little silly. Let's pick this one, Boss Lady. There we go. And you can see I've got my font size here, so I can adjust it however big I need to. I have all, I mean, listen, you know all this stuff. You dealt with Photoshop text in the past. The only things you probably need to know that's a little different is you got your appearance stuff here. So this is your fill color. So that's basically the color of the text. You want to add a stroke, a background, a shadow to it, and turning these things on gives you more control. And then you've got your alignment stuff, your anchor point. All of that stuff is here. So, and you can easily create Photoshop or lower thirds or graphics inside Photoshop and then just bring those into Premiere. The only thing that you can't, and the reason I don't do that is because, unfortunately, and I have told the Adobe people this many, 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 many times, we need to be able to edit that text once it comes in here. You can't edit Photoshop text files inside of Premiere. You have to go back to Photoshop to do it. And it's easy to do. You just right-click, choose Edit in Photoshop. It opens Photoshop up, change the text, hit Control-Save, and it will automatically update inside of Premiere. But sometimes I don't want to have to open Photoshop. I just want to get it done now. I can just make that change. I just got to fix a typo. And it's just a little too cumbersome. So I generally create all my text inside of Premiere. And then I can add, I'm just going to, with the clip selected, I'm going to hit Control-D, and that's going to add a cross dissolve at the beginning and end, as you can see.
It's really creative. Really playing with it.
And that's nice. I could animate it if I wanted to, add some keyframes and do that with it. Oops. Make it kind of come on fast. I want to talk about one thing real quick. So effects and transitions. Premiere does not have a good set of, it's an old set of effects and transitions, especially transitions. there's a company called Film Impact. If you get serious about editing, I highly suggest you look in. There's going to be 2 products that I recommend, and Film Impact is one of them. It's a subscription service, and I know we're being subscribed to death, and nobody wants to pay for one more subscription. But that's why I said if you get serious about editing, Film Impact is worth it. They have a lot of good transitions and effects and helpful tools. I could do a whole session on just their products, but they are great. But anyway, I want to come in and give this a little bit more life. And so I'm going to do what's called a push impact. I'm just going to drag that on here. I'm going to shorten it up a little bit. Now watch what happens. See, it moves it on kind of cool like. I'm going to just change that direction, come to my effects controls. I'm going to change the direction. I don't want it to go all the way across the screen like that. So I'm going to make the direction right. Now watch. Boom. And then I can easily just copy that and put it at the end of the clip. Oops, nope, not there. Let me turn this track on here. Oh, I don't want it down there. And it'll go off, and I can change the direction down here to be left. So now it will.
It's really creative. Really playing it.
And boom, super easy. So that's using Film Impact. And again, you can see this is just one category of transitions that they have, and they have a bunch more that are here. And like I said, it's like $100 a year or something, 100 something a year, I think. I don't remember exactly. But if you're serious about editing, Film Impact, in my estimation, is a must-have. So I want to show one other thing. Let's get rid of that. I'm going to come over here to Premiere Composer. Premiere Composer is a plug-in third-party that comes from a company called Mr. Horse. And I know it's a goofy name, but their stuff is amazing. You have all these different things over here to choose from. And I want to create a essential topography. I'm going to come down to lower third, text, lower third. And you can see they have pre-built all these different kinds of lower thirds that animate on. So I'm going to and all you have to do is just drag it down and it will populate. It creates what's called a MOGRT, and a MOGRT is just essentially a motion graphic file. But you can see, there it is. It creates it on there. It does everything for me. And I can come up in this panel and just sort of redesign it or reposition it, I should say. So I want it to be right there. I'm going to scale it down a little bit, slide it over a bit. Again, I'm just, I can change the font. I can change the text. I can change the color. Let's say I don't want orange for that. I want more purple, let's say. Boom, we're done. And if I need it to be up there longer, I can just drag it out. Now.
It's really creative. Really playing it.
Boom, done. It's that fast. And I mean, I didn't change it to Boss Lady and all that stuff, but, you could guess how quickly that would be. Lady in charge. Totally made a typo there, but okay. So
it's really creative.
Boom, done. That's how fast I can create a lower third. And it's a nice looking lower third too.
Really playing it.
And I have lots of other ones to choose from if I want to. I can go through here and I've got all these other different things. So Premiere Composer from Mr. Horse. Again, it's a subscription. I don't remember how much it costs, but again, if you're serious about editing, definitely worth the money. It has all kinds of different things in here, from motion graphics to transitions to text presets, and it just saves you a ton of time. But all right, so we've got our lower third in there now. So we are all set for that. Now, next step in the chain of doing work here. Oh, you know what? I wanted to add, while we're in Mr. Horse, a little logo at the end there. So I'm going to add this little horse or a hand-drawn thing. I'm going to add this, and we're going to say company logo. And oops, company logo. I'm going to add it. And it's going to add this hand-drawn logo down onto my timeline, right where my control thing was. And yeah, I want it to be right there at the end. And let's see, I want to change the color from black to white so we can see it. I don't want the stroke color. And it should come up here. So there it is. It's like Bugs Bunny made it. Okay. And I can choose to adjust the length of it, say up here a little bit. So now let's make it a little bit longer here. There we go. Okay. So I might need to render that one out. So I'm going to hit the enter key, and that's going to render it out. It's a little bit more intensive on the processor. And since I've got this streaming thing going on with you guys and stuff, it's kind of bogging down a little bit. So just hitting enter, it's going to render that out for me. So it'll play back all nice and smooth. So we'll just give that another 15 seconds here. But again, Mr. Horse, Premiere Composer, Film Impact, definitely third-party plugins that are worth the price that you pay for them. You know, I know no one wants to pay more in subscriptions, but definitely worth it.
Maybe you can type in maybe you can type in the address in the chat in the chat box here.
Yeah, if I can, I can't do it right now, but I will try to do that. Yeah, I will try to do that maybe after we're done here. But
we'll send it out to the group later on.
Yeah. If you just Google search Premiere Composer by Mr. Horse, you'll find it. And then Film Impact, same thing. You should be able to Google them. So, all right, let's look at our logo. Let's look at our little logo here at the end.
Found it.
I don't think any company would want that for their logo, but it's perfect for this video. All right, so I'm going to hit Control S to save because Premiere can crash sometimes, and we want to save where we're at. So last thing we got to do, one of the last things we got to do is color correct. This video looks terrible. Look how dark it is. Same with her, super dark. So I'm going to go to my color panel and open up my color correction tools. And I'm going to come over here to the scopes. Now, select this clip. So you might notice this color panel here, the Lumetri color panel, is very similar to what's I've been told. I don't spend a lot of time in Lightroom, but I'm told this is heavily based off of what is currently or was in Lightroom at one point. So a lot of this should feel somewhat familiar to you. One thing I wanted to show, and I know this is maybe a little bit advanced, but I figure I'll show it to you just in case. So I'm going to come back to that shot of my gaffer Tommy here. I'm going to drag this down on here. Tommy's got this chart. This is a chart that we film when we film with multiple cameras. To get all the cameras looking the same, we film somebody holding this chart up. It's got two sides. You can see over here, one side is white. That's for white balance. The other side has got all the different colors on it. Now, what I can do is when I come into my scopes here, you can see I've got the highlights and kind of work your way down to the blacks, and you can see those all over here on my scopes. So to get the right sort of color balance, all I have to do is just sort of let's brighten things up a little bit. And you can see my blues here, my highlights are a little bit bigger. So I'm going to come to my color wheels and to my highlights here. I'm just going to move those, and you can see those things will move in real time. And basically, I want to get those top three lines as even as possible. So let's see here. It's going to become a little too much in the green, too much in the red. Let's see. Let's come up this way. Again, there's a little bit of a lag because of that, but let's say that's pretty good right there. My mid-tone lines are looking pretty good. Those are looking pretty good. Those are looking pretty good. I mean, this looks pretty solid right here. So I think I'm going to go with that. So in my effects controls, anytime you make a correction over here on a clip in the Lumetri color panel, it automatically, in your effects controls panel, you'll see it adds where is it now? It should add, it added the Lumetri thing. It added to the source clip because I had that selected. My bad. Normally, it should add it here. Let me get rid of that. We're not going to get into source clips or source and master or master clip settings. So I'm going to just paste that here. Okay, it will automatically create this on your clip. So now I just have to go back to, once I got that set, I'm going to go back to that shot of her because that was kind of in the same place. And that's not too bad. We need to do a little bit more work on it, but I'm gonna get into my curves here. That's starting to look better. And let's see, I might adjust my exposure just a bit, add my contrasts, and then not looking too bad. We'll say that's good enough for what we're doing right now. So we got that squared away. And we'll cut and paste and add that to the last one as well. So that looks good. And we'll do the same thing for this one. Now, this one I don't have a color chart, so I'm going to just do this one by eye. Let's get my scopes back up. I'm just going to bump up my exposure. First off, I'm going to add a little thing here to my curves. And that looks pretty good. That was super quick and easy. So now she looks good.
Scientist here in San Diego, and also
Now, the other thing too is I wanted to show these shots right here, these B-roll shots, like this shot of this guy right here. If I wanted to correct that to make it look a little bit more normal, you can do what's called an auto white balance. So basically, with that clip selected, I'm going to click on this little eyedropper, and I'm going to click on this and say, okay, this is white. And you can see that it recolored the shot. Now, I don't know that that's 100%. It looks okay, but it still doesn't look perfect to me. So I'm going to undo all that, reset this, and I'm just going to choose that shot. I'm going to come back down into my color wheels, and in my midtones, I'm just going to drag that around a little bit until I get kind of where I want it to be. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to do that in the highlights as well. There's a lot of bright there. Just kind of warming it up a little bit from the blue. Now that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. So, you know, and again, I can do the same thing. I can look over here on my scopes and kind of see that looks really good. I come to my effects controls, and I'm just going to copy that onto some of these other clips that are a little blue. So that one's a little too warm. So maybe we drag that back now. But that looks pretty good. So and you can see if I turn this off, this is what we had. It was very blue, and that looks better. Same over here. You know, we had it looking very blue at first, and now it looks pretty colored. So it looks pretty good. So, you know, and I can spend more time, again, doing color correction is a whole lesson unto itself. But you get the gist of it here. You can go through and do all these different shots and color correct them. You know, maybe add it right there too. Yeah, that's pretty good. Maybe just adjust that warmth a little bit right there. Like right there, it looks a little bit better. So, okay. But you get the gist. So that is the color panel, and that's color correction. So once you've got all that done, you've got all your color correction done, you've got, you know, the video looks pretty good, the audio's mixed. You say, well, it's ready to, let's get rid of that shot. We don't need it anymore. You're almost ready to export out, but there's one more thing we need to do. We need to add captions to it. So in order to add captions, let me come back to my workspace here. I want to add captions. Now remember, we transcribed everything. So adding captions should be pretty simple. So I come back to my text panel, and I've got three things: transcript, captions, and graphics. Graphics is basically anything that has graphics in it. So for instance, I have Boss Lady, Lady in Charge, that graphic we created. That's available here, and I can see that. But I want to go to captions. It's already got the transcript made. So all I have to do is create captions from transcript. I'm going to choose to just use all the default settings here, create captions, and voila, we have captions. Now, it's got this thing in here from that clip, but watch this.
I've been able to go into the lab and purify proteins and just be able to show filing and then see at the end of an experiment, like see.
So I'm not going to go through and correct it because it does look like it got a few words wrong here and there, but you get the gist. It quickly created those captions for me. And if I wanted to correct them, so I don't like that font and I want to add a little box around it so they pop even more, all I have to do is just highlight this text, come to my properties panel, and I'm going to choose Arial because whatever reason, I like that the best. That looks pretty good. And I'm going to turn off the shadow, add a little box to it. And let's see, I'm going to change. These are my kind of go-to parameters. I always say 20 to give it a little bit more space around the text. 5 to give it a touch of a rounded corner there. But now you can see we've got
here in San Diego and also in a couple of other BMS sites in Lawrenceville, New Jersey.
Boom. Subtitles are done. So that's all well and good. You got your subtitles. But now let's say a client calls you or whoever calls you and says, hey, you know what? We're going to send this video to Italy. So we need Italian subtitles. And you're like, well, I don't speak Italian. So what am I supposed to do? No worries. Adobe has you covered. If you come up back into your text panel in that captions, right click, translate captions. Choose what language you want. It's in English, but we're going to choose, what did we say, Italian? Let's choose Italian. Translate. We're going to leave everything else the same and click translate. And it's uploading the captions, translating the captions, and then it will lay in, downloading, and then boom, there they are. And I can turn those on.
A couple of other BMS.
Now, you can see they're a little bit small, but that's fine. I can do the same thing. I'm just going to select all those captions. I'm going to come here. You can see that font size is 18. Let's make it a little bit bigger. And let's go back to Arial. And boom.
Sites in Lawrenceville, New Jersey. And
so now I've got a version that has Italian subtitles and one with English subtitles. Voila. Now I will warn you that it's AI that's creating this. If you know somebody who speaks Italian, you should definitely run it by them because it gets some things wrong sometimes. And yeah, it's not going to translate every single word perfectly. And I would highly, highly recommend you run it by somebody before you ship it out. Otherwise, somebody might be calling you from Italy saying, hey, your video's got the wrong words to it. That's a really bad Italian accent, but you get the gist. So yeah, but it is a big help. You can see it created those Italian subtitles. It probably got 80 to 90% of it right. I mean, it did it that fast. And it's, if you have to pay somebody, I'm actually paying a translation company a ton of money right now to create captions for me and voiceover files and all this other kind of stuff. And part of the reason I'm doing it is because it's very technical stuff and it has to be exactly right. But going forward, and to be honest with you, when we started this project, this feature wasn't available. Moving forward, I'm going to have Premiere create all this stuff and then send it to the translations company and just have them correct it for me, which is going to save a ton of money for the client. So anyway, so there you go.
How much does a translation company normally charge? How do they charge?
So they usually charge by the word, and it depends on what you need. So frame of reference, I'm creating an Italian version of this video. Now the video I'm creating, the video's length is about 21 minutes long. To do the translation from English to Italian, to create what they call an SRT file, which is basically the caption file. So they're going to send me a file that I drop in here that will lay in all these captions for me. To create that and to record a person speaking Italian to lay in instead of the person on camera's voice. I mean, to do that for that one language is, I want to say, between $3,000 and $5,000.
Wow.
So, and I already spoken to the translation company about this, and I said, hey, we've had a very good relationship all these years, and I know I've been paying you thousands of dollars to do this, but if I just sent you an SRT file, which I can export out, you come up here, export SRT file. So now I'm like, if I just send you an SRT file of an Italian, send you the video, the English, and an SRT file that's Italian, can you just go through and correct it for me and just, make any changes with your linguist people? They weren't too excited about that, but they said they would be willing to do it. And the cost difference is huge because now they're not doing the bulk of the translation. They're just having somebody that speaks Italian read it and correct it and correct it. And the SRT file is basically just a text file. So they're just going to correct that text file. It has all the time code markers in it, and when I can just re-import it into Premiere, it'll be 100% accurate. So yeah, so it's going to go, I mean, the voiceover stuff I'm still going to have to pay them for, and that's pretty expensive, but it's going to go from a $4,000 job to maybe a $2,000 job.
It's still pricey.
It's still pricey, but it's half the cost, you know? So, and to be honest with you, if I didn't need that voiceover file, it would probably go to just a couple $100. So it can save money. So it's a tremendous feature. But like I said, you want to double check it. It's not going to get it right every single time.
Okay, we've got some questions here.
Yep, let's have them.
All right, Robert O 2025. What are some hints? Let me put this up here. What are some hints you can give a non-editor? Things like newbies often use too many transition types. That's an example.
So, well, in particular with transitions, you know, editors will tell you, professional editors will always tell you that, you know, cross dissolve is your best friend. Hard cuts and cross dissolves. Yeah. Don't get too, you know, transitions are really sort of a subjective thing, and that you've got to really feel it out for, you know, what the scene and what the clip needs. When I see clips or videos that are just wall to wall fancy transitions, and, you know, it's usually like somebody just bought a new transition pack and they're just trying everything out. You generally don't need those. You could always have less transitions. So, you know, cuts and dissolves are what I always recommend. If you can just get away with that, you'll be fine. Now, there are times where you've got really high energy videos where you need to have a lot more fancy transitions to get things, because you want to just create this energy and it needs to be that kind of style. That's a different situation. But by and large, you know, just keep it simple is usually the best way to go. It's more elegant, and it will just look better in the end and make you look a little bit more professional.
All right, second question.
Yep.
I was wondering if they have an SDK or a scripting language that a code hacker like me can use to create his own in-house effects in Premiere Pro. And this is from David Glenn.
I will say yes, you can. That there is that to be able to have. Now, I will also say that is above my pay grade and how that works. But yes, there is an ability to do that. I have an editor friend who pays coders over in, I think, Ukraine or someplace like that, somewhere over in Europe, to create little things for inside Premiere to speed up. He has a very unique workflow in the way, and he needs I think in Photoshop you call them actions, where you can tell Photoshop to do a number of steps, kind of all like at one time, and then it just does it. Isn't that correct, Stephen, that you guys have that? So he wanted something. He called me and said, I need actions in Premiere. And I said, I don't think we have that. There's no way to do it natively inside Premiere. So he got his coder friends, and they created something that is similar to that and works inside of it. So the answer is yes, but you're talking to the wrong guy about that, how to do that.
Right. So then a couple of comments from Neon ZFX. Love the transition option. It's been a while since using Premiere Pro. And then the second comment is, with the SRT file, you might be able to use AI voice to do the voiceover, which is one of the earlier comments by, I think it was David Glenn.
Yeah. So you can use AI Labs or 11 Labs is who I use to create voiceovers. Like I'll create text, and then I'll have 11 Labs create a voiceover for me, and then I can drop that in. It's still, I'm not 100% sold on that tech yet. It's hard to get. It doesn't always get every word right. It doesn't get inflection always right. But it's coming a long way. And I'm working on a big animated project for a client, a big pharma company. And for the early stages of animatics and everything else, we have all this voiceover, and we just used 11 Labs. I think I did some of the voiceover, the temp voiceover, because there was a lot of technical words that 11 Labs wasn't getting right. But for all the other stuff, yeah, we had AI voices create all that. So voiceover artists aren't going to be very happy to hear that kind of stuff. But it's where we're at right now. And so,
right.
Yeah. Any other questions before we do the final step here?
No more questions.
Okay. So we've got everything done here. We're happy with our video, let's say, and we want to get it exported out. So there's two places that we can do that. First stop is if you just need to spit something out super fast, you've got this button up here that's called Quick Export. And Quick Export will literally just export the video out. You can choose like a preset here if you want it to, and there's just like a list of them here. And you can choose where you want to save it to and just click export and boom, spits it out. That's the fastest way to go. If you need to get in there and change some settings and really dial in your export, come to the export tab. Over here, you have all these different sort of export settings. You can, if you have a Behance page, does anybody use Behance, by the way? I know Adobe owns it. And I know there's a lot of people who are on there, but I honestly don't know anybody who uses Behance. And that's not a slight on Behance. It's just, I just don't know anybody who uses it. So, but anyway, if you want to upload to Behance, Facebook, TikTok, Vimeo, X, YouTube, you can turn these on, put in your login information, and Premiere will encode the file and upload it to those accounts to your page right away. So it's a really great, handy thing to have. Otherwise, if you just use media file, you've got all of your information here. You can change your file name, where you want to save it. Again, choose your presets. Most of the time for video, you're using an MP4. And the settings that I recommend are you've got these match source settings. You've got high, low, medium. If it's got to look good, go high. If it's just for somebody to look at and you just want a small file size, use low. You've got these high quality ones you can use as well. There's a YouTube preset that works pretty well. So yeah, those are just good presets, good things to follow. And then you got your format, again, A264. Now we've got captions in our video. If you don't want the captions, you can easily just click, boom, no more captions, or turn it on. And you can dial these down. There's all kinds of settings that you can choose to really dial stuff in. For video, you can get in and adjust the bit rate, whether it's a single pass or CBR, which is constant bit rate, or VBR, which is variable bit rate. If you're wondering what the differences are, constant bit rate is exactly what it says. It keeps the bit rate the same the entire time for the video. Variable bit rate will fluctuate throughout the video depending upon what's happening in it. And with variable, you can do 1 or 2 pass. If you choose 2 pass, variable bitrate 2 pass usually gives you the best quality, especially if you have a lot of movement, because the first pass sort of analyzes your video and says, okay, this is moving, that's moving, and it kind of creates a good way to encode everything. And then that second pass is where it will actually do the encode based on that, what it sees in the first one. Because it's basically with MP4, and this is getting really deep in the weeds, so I'm not going to dive too far into it, but it's what they call interframe, not intraframe. And interframe means that it creates one frame, like this lady right here. It creates one frame that's like this, and the next 5 or 6 or 10 frames, I forget what it is the only thing that's there are the differences between that frame and what this frame looks like, is all the information that's written down. So it doesn't save the entire frame. That's how I was able to get a smaller file size, because it doesn't save all the frame data, just those changes. And it creates these marker frames of, that sort of is when, it's like, okay, marker frame, just the changes, new marker frame, just the changes. And so that's how it works. So anyway, again, super nerdy tech stuff, but that's how it works. So that's all you need to really know for there. And then you've just got your audio settings, all these other things that, I would say just leave this, you leave the presets, you'll be fine. And then the last step is, do you want to send it to Media Encoder or choose export directly out of Premiere? Media Encoder will just open up Adobe Media Encoder. If you are exporting like 15 files, Media Encoder is the way to go. Just choose send to Media Encoder. It'll open it up and it'll queue them all up and then start encoding them. And you can even keep working in Premiere if you want to, or you can just let them, encode while you go out to lunch or do whatever. A lot of times I have multiple files to encode, 20 files sometimes. And I'll set it up while I go to lunch, or I'll set it up to go overnight. There's an option in Media Encoder that you can say, shut down the computer when it's done. So I just leave my system up when I go home at night. It encodes everything. And then when I come in, it shuts everything down. When I come in the morning, I boot everything back up and boom, it's all there and ready to go. So that is Media Encoder. But yeah, just click export and then boom, it'll export out and you are done. So that is everything I got.
Cool.
At this point,
right on time.
Or if anybody wants to dive deeper into anything, I mean, I think we've got some time. So let's do it.
All right.
Or if everybody's overloaded with information, you're like, dude, I'm done. I got to get out of here. That's fine too.
Well, first of all, this has been recorded. And if you want access to the recording, make sure you jump to this link I'm just putting up there right now. That will make you part of the Photoshop users group. Make you a member, which you will be notified of our presentations every month that we do, as well as the free workshops and the paid workshops coming up. We've got the beginning Photoshop class is will be coming up soon. Intermediate Photoshop is coming up in the near future. I call it the intermediate Photoshop with the Wacom tablet. It's the first day of the class is using the Wacom tablet, and the whole class is basically stylus centric. Using the Wacom or using the Sense Lab, your choice. It doesn't matter. We address both. Let's see. Nerdy is my second name, is David. Yes, that is so true. David is definitely the nerdy guy. Robert O says, thank you so much. And everybody's really enjoying it. I hope this is really helpful for everybody. This is the Photoshop users group. We're the largest. Actually, Eric and I run the only two official Adobe sanctioned user groups in San Diego. He runs the Premiere Pro user group. In fact, I'm going to put let me find the link real quick. I've got it here. In fact, here, let me go to your group on Facebook and actually put the link into here it is, Premiere Pro Users Group.
And you can find us on past meetings on our YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube and just search for San Diego Premiere Pro User Group, you'll find our meetings. Once COVID hit, like most user groups, we went online, and so all the meetings are recorded and are posted there, and we've got some that were in person. But yeah, that's a great place to go back and watch past meetings if you want to dive deep on certain topics.
Right. So get involved with his user group on Facebook, and of course you can get a lot of information there. And I'm going to give you guys the the Photoshop users group direct link to Facebook as well. We're about almost 33,000 members, and I will put this down here, Photoshop users group. And if you're not a member of that Facebook page, then go join it now. It's free. Post your work. We want to see your work, questions, help people out there. It's a very interactive group. And you'll be notified of our meetings every month as well. Eric and I run the only two officially Adobe sanctioned user groups in San Diego here. So we're legit. We are recognized by the god of video editing and photo and digital painting editing. So
I see a question about the YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube and search for San Diego Premiere Pro User Group, you should find us.
Right.
You don't want to search for my YouTube channel because I don't think there's anything there. So.
Okay. Now, let's see. I do not go to Facebook at all. Okay.
Okay.
That's Jason Mendalis. You probably go to YouTube.
You can go to YouTube, but if you want to keep up with our group, we also have a meetup page. So if you go to meetup.com and search for San Diego Premiere Pro User Group, you can find us on Meetup and sign up there. I think it's free to sign up and be a part of it, and you can get meeting notices and everything on Meetup. I get not being on Facebook. Facebook's kind of...
Well, Facebook evidently is kind of going downhill, isn't it?
Isn't all social media going downhill? But
I
yeah.
think I don't know, but yeah, I think who knows? no comment.
Zucky, yeah.
It says okay. So Mandala says, "Got it." Can you repeat the meetup info
just
again?
Go to meetup.com and look for San Diego Premiere Pro user group.
Right.
So,
put in the San Diego in there, because the thing is, the bad thing about Eric's group's name on Facebook is that when I put in Premiere Pro, he doesn't even show up at all. But if I spell out the word San Diego, or the space between San and Diego, then it finds Eric. Right? If you put in Photoshop, you'll find us. It'll come up, Photoshop Users Group. Actually, I changed your name from the San Diego Photoshop Users Group to just Photoshop Users Group.
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of groups for Premiere out there. So
you might consider changing your group's name to just Premiere Pro User Group.
And but then there's other people out there that have user groups in other parts of the country, and they're just going to yell at me. So I just keep it San Diego. I don't need the headache.
They can come and get you.
Exactly. Come find me. Come make me.
Come find me. You can get me if you can catch me.
But yeah, but I thank you, Stephen, for having me, and it was great.
It's an honor.
Hopefully everybody got stuff out of it. And like I said, I know we've got a little bit of time left, so if anybody does have anything they want to deep dive in, or have a question about something specific, or something I didn't cover that you've always kind of wondered, I'm happy to, in the time we have left, to answer that question. And so post them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm happy to go eat lunch too. So whatever works.
So it looks like no questions. Like everybody's enjoyed everything. So I tell you what, stick around just for a couple of minutes, Eric.
Yeah.
And then everybody, thank you for joining us. This is great. Just looking at a bunch of the people are here. There's more here than what I'm going to read off here, because Twitch doesn't show everybody's that's showing on the viewers list. Ace Hoffman, thank you for being here. David Glenn, Deanna 92024, that's Encinitas. Essence, welcome. Thank you for being here. Mac Nonsense, Mandala, Neon Z Effects, Peter All, number 2. Great to see you again. Shoot me an email or something sometime. Let's see. We've got Photo Debs, welcome. And thank you for being here. Robert O from 2025. And then the creative design, of course, Ivan from the user group in Orange County, which I know you'll be talking to Eric pretty soon. And I also sent you off an email, Ivan. Okay, so great.
I do see one question here. Are there any GPU recommendations that you'd recommend? So, I would say it's whatever you can afford. I mean, I think with Premiere, I don't know if you're Windows or Mac, but I'm assuming if you're asking that question, you're most likely Windows, because Mac is sort of, dialed in. But what I would say is, I found that NVIDIA cards work better than AMD cards with Premiere. Windows, okay, good. But yeah, I would say whatever you can afford is great. I mean, there's so many video cards out there, but I found anything from the NVIDIA family works the best. I don't know that you need the Quadro level. GeForce should work fine for you, but just get whatever you can afford. Yeah,
and you better be able to afford at least $2,000.
Yeah. I mean, lower end cards work good, but it's everything changes so fast that it's like, what's good one year is going to be, not as good next year. So
if you want the best video card on the market, you got to be willing to spend $2,000. Don't do it on a video card. Go to a place like Alienware, get the highest, best video card that's going to be in the computer, and you will spend $2,000 for a whole computer with the best card on the market already in it. That's spend $2,000, buy another computer.
So Nia, I see your comment about the Quadro level card. So here's what I will this was explained to me by somebody from NVIDIA. So, and maybe you know this, so I'm sorry if I'm telling you stuff you already know, but the difference between the Quadro and the GeForce are essentially, the Quadros are made for heavy duty use for long periods of time. They are built for the long haul. Whereas GeForce cards are more designed for, they're really designed for video game use. They're made to be replaced 2 to 3 years. So the technology in the cards aren't built to last. They're built for speed they're built to work really good, and then they're built to kind of just die after 2 or 3 years. So you'll buy a new one. Whereas a Quadro card, you could get 5 to 6 to 7 years use out of a Quadro card, and you're going to see good performance out of it the entire time because that card is just built to last. So, you know, that's why I say it really depends on what you want to spend. You know, I've heard from Adobe people that you're better off with the GeForce because they are faster and you'll get better bang for your buck because they're lower cost. You know, and I've talked to other editors who like, I wouldn't do anything without a Quadro because I'm using my system, you know, hours and hours every single day, 5 days a week, you know, sometimes on weekends. And I need that stability that that card provides. I don't want to worry that my card's going to crap out after 3 years because of overuse. So it's, you know, it's really sort of what you can afford and what your use case is. So video card GPU versus CPU memory. At this point, I would say you want to have a GPU that has as much memory as you can.
Yeah.
And you want to have as much memory built into your system as you can as well. They both help.
They all work together.
Yeah, Stephen's right. They all work together right now. And video editing is so intensive that you really sort of have to build like your own rig for it. Buying a really top of the line gaming system from some company isn't going to give you the best performance for editing. It's going to play Halo awesome or whatever game you play, right, but your performance on editing and things like that could really suck. So yeah, I know that I'm just repeating myself, but it's really as much as you can afford. Get as much memory, RAM as you can, get the biggest GPU that you can afford, and get some fast drives. You want SSD drives if you can. That will give you the best combination for editing.
I was just pricing out RAM, 128 gigabytes of RAM for my system, which is 4 sticks of 32s. That was about $330.
That's not bad.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good. And I seriously considered just doing it, but I figured I'll wait till my next job comes in. See, I'm poor like you guys, so
yeah, and it really is. I mean, so the system that I have right now, the laptop that I have that I'm doing this on is a Dell workstation class laptop. It has 64 gigs of RAM in it, 2 hard drives, NVIDIA Quadro mobile card, and some other stuff. And then I've got on my workstation, it's a HP workstation class, and it's got, RAM and all that kind of, a lot of RAM. But it's like, but I buy the RAM for the workstation stuff. I buy that separate. Like, it's super expensive from HP, but you can buy the RAM cheap from other people and put it in. And that makes such a difference.
And the same thing with Alienware. Their RAM is astronomically expensive. I had the Alienware rep on the phone, and I went to Amazon, found the same RAM that they were selling me for almost 3 times as much as Amazon was selling the same stuff. So I go to Amazon first because that $330 for 128 gigabytes is very reasonable. And I could have done it. I just decided to hold off to my, it's like, I'm like you guys. I make money, but then the money goes right out of my hands again. It's on expenses, and you're still holding that same $50 you had before the money came in.
So a couple of things. So I see the difference in RAM type performance too. That is absolutely true. You want to make sure you're getting the right kind of RAM for your system and that you're getting high quality RAM. And then do I have a NAS? No. So I'm a small enough shop to where I don't need one. But that being said, I do have a RAID set up over there on my desktop system. And I have a couple SSD drives that come in Thunderbolt into my main desktop. So, I'm not that big. I have a wonderful collection right around this corner of hard drives from over the years that I've collected, as most video editors have. But no, I'm not big enough to have some kind of setup.
The array thing works well with the server industry. And it worked well in video in the beginning because hard drives weren't that fast. So they were splitting up the data so that your data can flow faster. But you do need it for your server systems because you got all that backup stuff you got to do.
Well, yeah, and truth be told, I mean, I'm a small enough shop to where I don't need to have if I had multiple editors here editing off of all pulling off the same, I was going to upload everything to one place and then have them edit off of that, then I would need something like that. But we're not set up that way. So, that's not the case. So I don't really need it. But I know a lot of people who do because they're in bigger shops. So.
Yeah, DDR6 is coming out. But again, DDR6 is coming out, but you got to have a motherboard that accepts it. So
Yep.
you're going to be upgrading your computer. I just say, get a computer that's got it in there already, with the graphics card that's got it in there already. Buy it all as one unit, and you're good to go.
I always recommend for folks shopping for computers, it's like buy as far ahead of the curve as you can.
Yeah.
If the standards are here, you want to buy, up here if you can afford it. And I know sometimes it's hard. You're like, oh man, that's going to be tough. But you know what? You'll be happy because you'll keep that system longer as everything eventually catches up to you, and you can keep it even when it passes you for a little bit, and you make that next leap. But yeah.
So GeForce is probably fine these days. You can expect our OS to need newer hardware every 3 to 5 years. Have not seen anyone own an actual iron Windows machine as a workhorse for more than 4 years. That's true. Macs tend to live 150% as long in my experience. You know what? I don't know. I better not say anything.
I'm not. So I will say the desktop that I have over here, and granted, it's a workstation class system. So it's not just like whatever. It's an HP Z8 workstation. I've had that now for, let's see, I got it pre-pandemic. So I want to say 2018, 2019. So that's how old it is. It's more than 4 years old. And it's still rocking. And what's great about it is I can upgrade. I can put more RAM in it. I can put better graphics card in it, and I can pay just those little increments to boost it up, and that's what keeps it going. So I would slightly disagree that I think you can if you buy the right system and do the upgrades, you can make it last.
I totally agree with that. I am not a Mac guy. I mean, I have Macs. I am not sold on Macs. Mac is too proprietary. 99% of the software in the industry is made for PC and optimized for PC. So I often find things running faster in Photoshop or Blender on a PC than on a Mac, because the whole world is PC oriented. So
that's the difference between your world and mine, though. See, on the film side and video, I'm the minority. I've had so many phone calls where I have to work with another shop, and it'll be like, okay, so we're going to send you those hard drives. And I'll be like, okay, so just let you know, I'm on. And I remember this, like, I don't know, this is probably 7-8 years ago. I talked to this other production company that was out of LA, and they were sending me hard drives. And I said, listen, I'm Windows based, so I need you to make sure that I can access those drives at least through Mac Drive. And they said, oh, you're on Windows? Why? And I'm like, well, why are you on Mac? And they're just like silence. And they're like, well, because it's the best. And I said, well, that's why I'm on Windows. It's the best. So send me your hard drives and make sure I can read them. And
and you should be able to, as long as they don't format their hard drive for a Mac, you'll be fine.
But yeah, it's in my world, I'm the minority for sure. Video and film is very Mac.
That's interesting, because in the 3D world, it all started on the Silicon Graphics SGI. And then directly from SGI, it went directly to Windows.
Yep. I remember using SGIs with Unix at an internship a long time ago.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Windows machine. Let's get out of that one. Building a new computer next year. Oh, good. Ace told me okay, I'll be calling you, Ace. Let's see. Neon Z effects. I'll have animation systems last for 5 to 10 years. Yeah. Especially the animators and animators, they keep their systems for a long time.
Yeah.
Simply needing upgrade CPU. Yeah, I mean, if you build your own system, you can just upgrade the CPU and the graphics card, provided your motherboard allows for it. Mostly referring to laptops is what he was talking about. But David Glenn mentions the only reason I dumped my Dell Alienware system was because it was not Windows 11 compatible. Yeah, I've got an old Alienware system that's not Windows 11 compatible, but it'll still run 10 just perfectly fine. But I did upgrade my laptop to the Alienware 18, which is the 18-inch laptop, which I really like. I went with the 18-inch because it's easier to see. It's easier. I'm getting older now, so you know. I remember when I was a little kid. It used to read those novels with 5-point type. You can't.
The laptop I'm using with you right now, this Dell workstation laptop, it's a 17.5 or something inch.
Minimum you gotta have with the letters enlarged.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I can't. I need more real estate at this point in life. So
that's right.
You know, yeah. I don't know how these kids do it with these little 13-inch Mac. I sat next to some kid one time and he was editing some social media clip on like a Mac laptop. I swear it was like a 13-inch screen. And I'm just like, how do you even see that? But
well,
anyway.
I've got one when I bought almost 20 years ago. It's a 10-inch screen. Those little 10-inch laptops. So you know, and they ran Windows 97 or something like that. 98. Windows 98. Yeah.
Oh man, there's a blast. Let's see. There's a question. What do you think of the visual effects reference platform with respect to what you do with Premiere Pro and working with other agencies? So I'm not entirely sure I know what you mean by the visual effects reference platform, but I mean, if you're talking about like creating a pipeline of using, you know, with using Premiere with other visual effects artists and having Premiere part of that, yeah. I mean, I know guys that do that all the time. I mean, you know, After Effects is kind of like the main conduit to sort of come from everywhere. But yeah, I mean, you can revolve around. I mean, my animator that, well, you know, DJ Steven.
Yeah.
DJ Summer.
Is DJ still involved with your group?
No, he's kind of taken a backseat. He's got a whole thing going on, but he uses, you know, a lot of the same 3D stuff that you're using and Unreal and all kinds of stuff. And yeah, so we work together really well. You know, with his stuff. So yeah, I mean, you can totally do it. So, but if I'm not getting if that's not answering your question, please let me know.
Okay, let's see. What am I missing here? What is this? Did I do this one already?
Yes.
I did that one already.
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay, so 10-year-old systems still use. Yeah, you can still use your old systems as render nodes. Matter of fact, I've kept my old Alienwares, or they're all still around, which I plan to introduce that into render nodes as well. David Glenn's complaining about laptops being 10 pounds. Heck, I say go back to the gym, get some muscles, or get a little cart thing with wheels on it. You know, but you want if you're getting a heavier computer, it means it can handle. It's going to be more power in it. Those stupid little Air computers, right? The little thin little things, they don't have a lot of power in them for graphics.
I'm looking at the website that you sent, the VX platform. I'll check that out. So I haven't seen that, and so I'm not really sure how to answer your question. So, but I will look into that. And as for Steven's advice to work out, because you need a bigger laptop. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure most of us that sit around and edit or do this kind of stuff for a living could probably get more exercise.
Oh my gosh, that's the weak. That's the computer graphics people. We're bad about exercising. I know quite a few people on one hand that are dead today because they didn't take care of themselves.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's I will tell you right now, the video games that you see back behind me are there mostly because I love video games, but also because I get up. I mean, I worked at a place where carpal tunnel, and poor diet and health and moving around were problems. And so the company said, you work for an hour and a half at your desk doing your stuff, and then you need to get up and move around for at least 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes of moving around. And so now I get up and I go play those video games. I stand, I walk, and just whatever, just to get the blood flowing again. And it's a minimal thing that you can do, but just moving around, not sitting for 8 hours. Oh, good Lord.
Some people got their desks elevated up in front of a treadmill.
Yeah. I don't know that I could do that, but vacuum your computer screens regularly. Over here. Oh yeah. You know what? That is a really good point. Because I've done that a few times. I do it fairly regularly on my desktop because it gets super dusty.
It does in this area. Sure does. It could be worse. You could be in some place like Pahrump, where it's nothing but dust, dust storms.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is a good tip because that can happen especially if those fans on the back get clogged up. Oh, good Lord.
So okay, all right. So we need to kind of wrap this up because I have
Steven's got another date. He's got to be somewhere.
I got a private lesson I gotta go to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send everybody to. I'm gonna give you a link to my workshop page. So if anybody's interested, I'm the guy that teaches the Photoshop workshops and the photography workshops. We got the Death Valley and the Eastern Sierra workshop coming up for photography. So I'm giving you one for the Photoshop and one link for the photography. And I'm going to do one more link for any of you guys who are really interested in learning Blender. Blender 3D has become a large part of my workflow now. And I'm the lead Blender instructor at Studio Arts in Los Angeles. And it's a very exciting program. So there you go. There they all are. There's the Blender class here. You've got the photo workshops here. And then the photography, the photo workshops and the Photoshop workshops there. So you guys have them all. Use this discount code, which is, I just spilled my coffee all over the floor. Oh man, that is so annoying. Use this discount code. The problem is I make this really good coffee. I have this whole coffee bean and I grind it up with whole cinnamon stick.
Oh, wow. I have coffee importers in my building. So they import coffee from all around the world and they have to like test it and stuff like that. So I'm not a coffee drinker, so I'm not, but they like roast the beans out
right
sometimes.
Oh, that's nice.
Will smell like roasted beans. It's really pretty amazing. So
that's nice. I like the taste of coffee, and I'm a coffee snob, so it's got to be good coffee.
Yeah. Well, next time they give me some beans from some place down in South America, I'll be sure to give them to you.
All right, that's it, guys. We got to run.
All right. Thank you again, Steven.
Thank you, Eric. You were excellent as usual. And we got to set up a dinner date.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Dinner or lunch.
All right. Then we do either or, and then I'll message you.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you again for having me, and thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. Hopefully, you got something useful out of it.
All right. Great. So what I'm going to do is I just